There we are. Now, I don't know if any of that audio came through. Snark, give me a thumbs up if you heard anything earlier. No? Okay, now I'm live. All right, am I live now? Okay, hello everyone. My name is Brennan Marr. That noise you're hearing is my ventilator, and welcome to the first ever live stream from Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. This is to ring in the 7th year of the podcast. Yes, I began this podcast in August of 2018. Solo A Star Wars Story had already come out. And I actually began this podcast before any of the modern slew of live action shows. Or even, Rebels was out when I started. But The Mandalorian and all the other live action shows had not happened yet. That gives you an idea of how long ago. This was, I see a few people. Hi, Eli. Thank you, Eli, very much. See, Adelia's here. Hi, Adelia. Thanks for tuning in. And I've got some friends of mine in the wings waiting to come on. I'll bring them in a minute. But yeah, it gives you an idea of how long ago I started this. Was a few months before any of the live action shows. So that's how long I've been doing this. So before I start bringing in guests, I wanted to share a story with you on how this podcast started. So it's a bit of a long story, but I'll try to keep it brief. So about 15 years ago or so, 2008, I started doing movie reviews by webcam. That was how I sort of began. And at the time, I was a big fan of Nostalgia Critic and many of his cohorts, and I still follow their work on occasion. But as the YouTube algorithm does, it saw that I was interested in talking about movies. And I think I had my YouTube channel at that point. So one day I was watching some video by Nostalgia Critic. This would have been in the end of 2012 or the beginning of 2013. Because for about 4 years I did movie reviews, then I stopped. So shortly after Disney bought Lucasfilm, I was just watching a random video by Nostalgia Critic, and on the right side, where it recommended videos, it recommended a video called AMC Movie Talk with John Campea. Now, there's a lot that we could say about John Campea. And, depending on what you think, that I would like to say that if not for him, this show would not have happened. And the reason being that, I got into AMC Movie Talk with John Campea. This is how I first became aware of Christian Harloff, Mark Ellis, the Schmoes Know, and the Schmodown at AMC Movie Talk. Eventually became Collider Movie Talk. And I stuck with them for many, many, many years. And still follow many of the people that I met through AMC Movie Talk. But John Campea would often give two pieces of advice. And as I said, there's much we could say about him, but I would like to thank him for this. One, he had two pieces of advice. One was make sure you spend time every day working on something you love. And the other piece of advice was the technology exists to get your voice out there in the world of talking about movies. He says the tools exist. Use those tools to get out there. And so in August of 2018, I decided, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start getting my voice out there. The other bit of advice was don't worry about how many people listen. Just worry about putting yourself out there and letting your voice be heard. That's really what it is. And one of the other reasons was in August of 2018, Solo: A Star Wars Story had come out a few months before that and had bombed at the box office. And that is not hyperbole. It did not make money. It actually lost the studio money. Now, Solo: A Star Wars Story, I think, is a great film. And I think that one of the problems was that there was a lot of negative discourse around it. And that negativity inspired me to say, okay, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. I'm going to get involved and I'm going to share what I think out there. To put back a little bit of positivity and just share my love for something. And that's why it was in 2018 that this podcast begins. Now, over the years, I have had many, many wonderful guests who have agreed to appear on my show. I've got two of them in the wings right now. And I know that their time is limited, so I was going to bring them in first. But these gentlemen are some of my favorite people on the internet. And they love talking about the internet's favorite grump, Harrison Ford. So, and as one of them says, speaking of wonderful guests, so I guess I will just, without further ado, invite them in. And I know their time's limited, so that's why I'm letting them come in first. It is Paul Preston and Adam Witt.
Hey!
Hello, gentlemen, thank you.
Hello.
Thank you for hanging out today. How are you guys doing?
Good. Adam was working, so I took the time while he was working between 6 and 6:15 to go do something myself. So I missed the number. What is our anniversary? It sounds like
7 years.
Someone just put it in the chat.
7
Okay.
years. Congratulations.
Yeah, and my friend Cheryl says you guys are the dynamic duo.
Accepted.
We'll bring her in a minute.
I'll allow it.
You guys have a particular function on your show to talk about, as I said, the internet's favorite grump.
I got a thought
Harrison
on that.
Ford.
I got a thought on that. First of all, he said favorite grump, and I went the Grinch, and then went Harrison Ford as the Grinch.
Now that would make everyone's minds explode.
I mean,
I don't like those Who's down in Whoville. 1 bit.
Get the heck off my
Yeah, get off my sleigh.
Yeah. Get off. Yeah, no, I like that. That Hollywood, if you're listening, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So better give your royalties to these two guys.
Oh, I'm sure that check's in the mail.
Now, you guys have been kind enough to appear on my show multiple times.
Yeah, well, you're wonderful, Brennan.
And we have this weird tradition of every time I send you a topic, You say, "Oh, well, we were going to talk about that, so let's just talk about it on your show."
It's true.
Probably.
So
'Cause
it's
most of the
weird.
time
It's weird how that works. It's karma or something.
Yeah, because most of the time it's Harrison Ford or Star Wars related. So
Yes, and Harrison Ford apparently has been relevant for how long now? I mean, good grief, the guy is hulking out at Comic-Con,
It's
our lifetimes, literally our lifetimes. I mean,
which is weird that he's doing that because in the 90s he was so notoriously grumpy about all the sci-fi and fantasy stuff. And
I
now
was
he's
there.
embracing it.
I was there
Yeah.
at Comic Con 2012 when they brought him into the Hall H in handcuffs for Cowboys and Aliens because he
Oh,
was never
yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
Since then, he showed up for Ender's Game and now he showed up for Captain America: Brave New World. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's leaning in. It's cool.
And also I have to say hi to my friend Legal, who's in the chat. Hi, Legal. And
legal.
he is a great friend of mine, a fan of horror films, which I don't think Harrison Ford has ever really done much in the way of horror.
The horror
Yes, he-
thriller with What Lies Beneath, perhaps, but that's about as far as I.
Yeah, that's true.
In the TV movie, there was an Exorcist ripoff that he did. I believe it was was it Exorcist? There was a TV movie he did where it's God, I can't think of the
My friend Eli is
It's The
getting into
Possession,
the-
right? Or
the
something? No, it's not.
possession. Right.
My
Possession.
friend Eli's getting into the chat here with Harrison Ford, but yeah, no, I mean, it's
I don't
amazing
like those
that
who's talking about
that
incursions
this
and
guy has been
multiverses.
culturally relevant for almost 50 years.
I don't even think Paul and I could have
I
predicted
mean,
it.
it's insane just the amount of how
Well,
involved he's been in the world.
Well, what's kind of
of
crazy
great
is
films.
when we started the Ford Fiesta, Paul and I would make the joke because we started that during the quarantine. One of the famous things about the quarantine was all of the movie theaters were frozen in time. So those
Mhm.
marquees, it was Onward and a couple other movies, but it was also Call of the Wild was one of the ones that the marquees were frozen with. And that seemed like such a late in his career choice, the Call
And
of
a
the Wild.
CGI dog.
And
a
what
CGI
was it?
dog. And a CGI dog. I mean, I don't know.
And a
about
CGI
that.
dog. Yes. He had finally chosen to star alongside a CGI dog. That was a big choice for his career.
Well, that's basically what he did in Star Wars, so
Yeah.
it's par
Yeah.
for the course.
It's true. It's true. Starring alongside a dog, not new for him. A CGI one, a little bit new.
Yeah,
But-
but with Call of the Wild frozen in time on that marquee, yeah, it did feel like, well, that's it. He's done,
Yeah.
and because he's 78 or whatever he was at the time.
Yeah. It's so
but nope.
funny. Harrison Ford has been so funny. Because in the 90s and the 2000s, he was notoriously grumpy when people would ask him about Star Wars or any of that stuff that he had been in. And so
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of deal with the devil they made to get him back for Force Awakens.
Right.
And Dial of Destiny.
Well, I imagine that they probably paid him lots.
Oh, yeah. They backed
But
up a
then he-
boatload of
then he
cash,
finally
but he's
came
worth
back
it.
and- Then he finally came back and had nothing but love.
Well,
'Cause
and him being there had to be part of the reason it grossed $2 billion.
Well, yeah, I
whatever.
mean, because people were saying, I remember when they announced the films, they're like, Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher are obviously going to reappear. But everyone is like, I don't know about Harrison Ford.
Yeah. Well,
And then, of course, when they announced it, I remember the day they did. Like, the internet exploded. It was amazing.
Because it was never, ever, ever, because of everything you said about how grumpy he was about it, it was never, ever, 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 ever going to happen. He was never going to be Han Solo again. So I think seeing that trailer, seeing him show up, it was one of the most magical things in my lifetime.
Oh, my word.
I
That
cried.
trailer, that moment, my word. I remember how the universe exploded.
Yeah.
It
And
was
rightfully so.
complete and utter insanity. That trailer to end on that note.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
I was at Star Wars Celebration, so you can imagine.
Yeah, you were
this
there
was-
in the room when it happened.
Well, I was in the spillover room. It was so packed.
But you
I
could
know,
hear
but
the
feeling-
non-spillover
Oh,
room.
but
I'm
then,
sure.
I mean, to be amongst the faithful for that, I mean, there was
And I
crying,
see
there was
that,
screaming.
and I see that Adam's got a certain space
Yeah.
movie.
Well played, sir.
playing on the screen behind him.
Although I realized I don't have it set up. I was going to try and get it like the news over my shoulder, but it's in the
I
room.
mean, we could all just quote the scene without hearing the audio. I mean, we know it so well.
Speaking of which, Brennan,
Yes.
we come here with a mission today to celebrate your 7th
boy.
anniversary.
Okay. All right.
Mr. First Class League Star Wars genius.
Okay.
We
If
are
you say
bringing
so.
we are bringing to you today the belts say so, right? So we bring to you today nearly impossible Star Wars trivia to see how well you're going to do.
Oh boy. Okay. Let's see how this goes.
All right.
This is
I
funny.
might be
And
a little rusty. So.
yes. But what's funny is hard as some of these are, I'm like, I bet you Brennan does get one of mine at least. Paul's might be a little
I don't think
funnier
you
than mine.
Before you ask you to answer this question, Cheryl, have you guys ever been to Dragon Con?
No, I've never been. Atlanta, right? Or somewhere down there?
Yeah, Cheryl's a good friend from down in that part of the country.
No, that would be nice.
That's where the Damons are. They're from Atlanta, right? Or are they? Is that the?
Molly they're in Atlanta. Yeah,
Molly and her significant other.
Yeah, the other guy, Mr. Molly. Mr. Molly.
That would be really fun to go to. I have another friend in Atlanta. Actually, I think I have 2 other friends in Atlanta. It'd be really fun to go down and hang out with those guys.
So, okay, let's hear this nearly impossible Star Wars trivia.
Nearly impossible.
Mine might be more weird funny than actually answerable, but if you do answer them, I will be super impressed. Adam's probably more along the line of, because since he was like a Star Wars competitor himself.
Well, Star Wars Celebration, Cheryl, was pretty amazing. I've never been to San Diego Comic-Con. Not yet.
Oh.
Worth it.
We got to get you there.
Yep.
You live in Sacramento?
San Jose.
Oh, San Jose.
San Jose.
Right.
And I know the way to San Jose.
Do you?
Yeah. So, okay, let's hear this trivia. Let's see how I do.
Nearly impossible Star Wars trivia. That is the segment.
Oh,
dun, 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 dun.
All right, Paul, do you want to lead off or you want me to?
No, you lead off because I think yours are, we'll give people a sense of what we're doing and then I'll
just
go
try
off the
not to
rails.
quote the movie word for word behind you there, Adam, because,
See, now you're getting cocky. So
don't get cocky. That's the number one.
Great kid. Don't get cocky. Okay.
All right, Brennan, who says he knows Star Wars trivia.
Oh boy.
Former champion or current champion. Did they end Star Wars on the first class league?
I am the eternal champion.
The eternal champion. Oh, that's awesome. That's
I looked that up on the Collider wiki. I just wanted to make sure he was still holding this record so we could come at him today. So now we are.
Yeah. All right.
Brennan, in Return of the Jedi, Luke kills the Rancor by throwing a skull to trigger Jabba's dungeon door, causing it to fall on the creature. The death is mourned by the Rancor keeper, Malakili, who is comforted by a Nikto. What is the name of the Nikto, the Rancor, and the person whose skull Luke used to kill the Rancor?
Well, I only know the name of the Rancor, which is Patissa.
Amazing already.
I don't know the answer to the other 2 questions.
The Nikto was Giran, and the name of the skull was Bidlo Querve.
I think I should have known. Dang it, I should have known that.
Bidlo Querve was one of the funny ones that we would throw around in Star Wars training.
I know that name.
Yeah, right. It's one of the funny, ungettable ones.
Eli was saying he just watched Alex's video about that skull.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, good luck for it. Eli would have beaten me on that one.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
He knew it.
Oh, and a good friend, Jeremy Miller, popping in. Thank you, Jeremy.
Oh, hey, Jeremy.
That's very kind of you. Jeremy's been
very kind. Jeremy's a good guy.
A good supporter of the show for many years.
Yeah, he supports ours.
Okay, you got more of this nearly impossible trivia?
1 of 3 was pretty good, but how about this, Brendan?
Oh boy!
Before he died in 1997, Jack Purvis, who played the Chief Ugnaught in The Empire Strikes Back, celebrated his birthday every year on what date?
No, I'd say that this trivia is inherently unfair, but
that's perhaps
we'll
true.
say May the 4th, just to be festive.
Oh, that's a good guess because it's July 13th is Jack Purvis's birthday. Brendan, come on. Eternal Star Wars champ.
My twin niece and nephew, their birthday is Star Wars Day.
Oh,
So I
Oh,
will
yeah?
never forget their
twins
birthday.
on Star Wars Day. Come on.
A
now.
twin boy and a twin girl. And they're not.
Oh, come
named-
on.
What?
They're not named Luke and Leia.
Oh man.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah,
They're
miss.
named
Yeah,
Samuel and
missed out.
Renee. That's so close.
Brennan, in The Force Awakens, Rey lives inside an AT-AT and counts the days since her parents left her by etching a hash mark for every day they've been gone on the wall of her armored transport home. How many hash marks are on the wall?
Boo. Alex Damon could probably tell you that, but not me. So
It
I'll
is-
say 666.
Oh, very close. It's 4,095, which is me taking 315 days in a Jakku year and timesing it by 13 years, which is how long she was there.
Wow.
We should have brought Alex in here and had
Yeah,
him square
that's
off.
true.
He might have got that one.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so Brennan, the stunt actors who appeared in 1977 Star Wars include Mark Boyle, Andy Bradford, Chris Bruce, Terry Cade, Rip Clark, Tim Condren, Peter Diamond, Jim Dowdle, Sadie Eden, Tex Fuller, Richard Graydon, Richard Hammett, Reg Harding, Frank Henson, Dave Holland, Arthur Howell, Mags Kavanaugh, George Leach, Wendy Leach, Rick Lester, Bronco McLaughlin, Nosher Powell, Colin Skeeping, and Bill Weston. So my question for you, Brennan, is name 5 stunt actors who worked on 1977 Star Wars.
Peter Diamond, Peter Diamond, Peter Diamond, Peter Diamond, and Peter Diamond.
That's correct.
Sure. When Paul sent me that one, I was like, he knows one of those because Peter Diamond's the very famous one.
Yes.
Okay. Here's one you might know. The names of can you name the 2 Ewoks who took over the AT-ST Tempest Scout 2 with Chewbacca in Return of the Jedi?
Wolverine and Deadpool. I had no idea.
They are Whittle and Wonka.
That's what Whittle I remember. Yes.
Wonka? Whittle
Wonka.
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 Willy Wonka? Okay.
For
Whittle
a bonus
Wonka,
point, can you name Whittle's brother?
Wicked?
It is Wicket. That's his brother.
Oh,
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right. Yes.
Very nice. For the record, side note, my big annual more than a week trip is coming up, and it's up to Redwoods National Park, so I'll be getting some indoor on
Ooh,
next
yes.
month.
I mean,
finally.
I live up not too far from there.
Oh, we're at.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I'm in San Jose, but my nephew just got to go on a camping trip up to near Crescent City, which is where they filmed Return of the Jedi. Up in the redwoods up there. I think he
Have you
went to
been
one
there?
of the. No, I haven't, but I think he went to one of the locations where they did film.
I haven't researched it just yet, but I went to Death Valley and went to all the Tatooine spots, so I'll be damned if I'm getting out of Redwoods. I'm not going to
Oh,
all the
yeah.
Return of the Jedi spots. So.
So cool.
The same canyon as Raiders of the Lost Ark, of course.
Oh,
Wait,
right.
what?
Yes, when the Ark is being carried down that canyon in Raiders of the Lost Ark, same valley.
Where's
where
that?
R2D2 gets kidnapped by the Jawas.
Really?
Death
That's the same
Yeah,
place?
It
And I
is.
was there? Well, I got to look that up because I went
Yes.
to San Francisco in May. The City Hall steps are where Indy and Marion have their
Yes,
final words.
That's right.
And I
That's
thought it was
right.
in the only place in the continental states
Right.
besides Stockton, and where I think the exterior shot of the
Yeah,
school
I go
is.
to the opera across the street from that city hall all the time. So
Yeah, I gotta
But
go.
there
I
is
gotta look
another?
that up because I thought
There is
otherwise to see
another.
Raiders, I'd have to go to Tunisia or Kauai or Greece or France. I think. But Brandon, who says what in Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith?
say again.
Who says what in Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith?
C3PO?
That's correct.
That is correct. I told you he'd know some of these no matter how hard we went.
Yeah.
Captain Antilles, yes, Your Highness. I'm placing these droids in your care. Treat them well, clean them up, have the protocol droids mind wiped.
What?
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 Yep.
That was good. That's good.
Very good. That's 1 point, Brennan.
1 point. Okay.
We give him
well,
one of the. We
that's
give him a
Oh, no.
interesting.
point 0.25. Whatever.
See,
we give him a
these
third
are
of a
No,
worse
we'll
point
give
than
him
for
the
for
the.
we'll give him for
These
Wicked.
are worse than the questions that Eli would ask on
Eli being thrown under the bus. It was really funny, and Brennan, you know this, that the final season of the FCL, the Star Wars questions. No, I guess it wasn't the FCL, but the very last Star
Oh my
Wars
god, the
matches.
slowdown. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh no. But
Oh no.
Thanks, Adelia.
PLD went absolutely insane with some of the
Yes, he did.
last Star Wars questions that
He
were
sure
asked.
did.
It was so funny. It was like, name the third. What is the third line of the opening crawl? It was awesome because it was
The
like,
third line of the opening call would be. Oh wait, no, that's not the question.
well, what's the first line?
Well, it depends on which call.
Oh, I mean, sorry, episode 4.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Let's see.
I know that one.
Oh shoot! I should know this.
It
Is
is
A Dark Time for the Galaxy.
Dark Time for the Rebellion, I think, right?
I thought it was at a period of civil war in the game.
There's a
Oh, it is
period
a
of Civil
period of
War.
Civil
Rebels.
War. I got it
Oh,
wrong too.
non-Star Wars guy right
Oh,
here. Got
give a
that
point
one.
to Paul. Give a
Rebel
point to
spaceships
Paul.
striking from the hidden base on their first major victory against the evil Galactic Empire.
I used to
Just need
when
that
I would
kickstart.
when I would do Star Wars trivia with John Hoey, I would begin our sessions, or in Molly and all of us that were together on those calls. I would start it with saying, "And now and now we shall recite the Star Wars national anthem," and I'd be like, "Repeat after me." It is a period of civil war.
Civil War. Rebel spaceships striking the maiden base. Yeah.
Brennan, in Solo: A Star Wars Story, Kira, Han, Chewbacca, and the entire gang all go to steal the unrefined coaxium from the. I didn't get this question completely written from the.
The Pike Syndicate on Kessel.
Right, in Kessel. Kira goes under a code name and the name of her profession that she travels under. Can you give me the name of the character and what her title was?
I'll give you one answer. Nope.
Okay. Nope. One of the best lines ever spoken in Star Wars is, "I am Oksana Florin, Deputy Assistant Administrator to the Vice Admiral of the Federation of Trade Route Allocation and Monetization."
Well, I'll tell you what. I memorized that for SCL.
I
did.
had it memorized at one time too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, very nice.
Close
There you
enough, Eli.
But Deputy Assistant Administrator to the Vice Admiral of the Federation of Trade Route Allocation and Monetization.
That sounds like something George Lucas would have written.
That's funny.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can sure type this stuff, George, but you sure can't say it.
Yeah. Faster and more intense.
Hey, Brendan, where was the final battle on the planet Scarif in Rogue One filmed?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Speaking of movie locations.
Uh-huh.
Did they film that in like Tahiti?
Close.
American Samoa.
Right. I can't wait to go there. That's on my list. But nope. It's right ocean. But I think it was filmed.
Tonga.
Give you one more guess. Keep going way over towards like Indonesia.
Philippines.
The answer is Maldives. Maldives.
Oh, duh.
Specifically, Gan in Lama Atoll, Maldives, or
Yeah,
Atoll. I don't know.
everyone knows that.
I thought an atoll was in Waterworld, but either way, that's where they are.
Yeah, it's Snark is like, I remember that. I've seen these movies.
Yeah, you have.
Oh
Brennan?
no, you'll have to watch them again. Twist your arm.
Yes.
Well, we can catch up with this one back here. Brennan, in The Empire Strikes Back, Han and Chewie go out to discover the source of a transmission, and they discover a probe droid, which they shoot at. What was the name of the probe droid?
Bob.
It's XJ9CS14. A fact I still have memorized. I didn't have to look that one up.
Wow.
Okay.
It's always fun to have a few in your back pocket, goofy pieces of trivia.
Yep.
This is the last one I wrote for you, but this should be a breeze. Who is the assistant re-recording mixer for Solo: A Star Wars Story? I'll take one of the three. You don't have to name all three.
I'll say Walter Murch. I have no idea.
That's a good guess. Now, Daniel Dupree, Jeff King, and Marilyn Morris, who of course was uncredited.
Yeah. Oh, and here it's Alberto Calderon. Thank you, Alberto.
And Alberto Calderon. He was the fourth assistant re-recording mixer
Yes.
on
Yes,
Solo:
he
A Star
was.
Wars Story. Let's not forget.
Alberto
Also in
Calderon.
Well, he was here a minute ago. I may have had to step away, but
In the Phantom Menace, Rick O'Lee, who flies under the call sign Bravo Leader, has a droid in his starfighter. What was that droid's name?
Billy Jim Bob, I have no idea.
Ooh, so close. It was R2A6. So close.
Rick O'Lee, or as I like to call him, Captain Obvious.
Captain Obvious. Oh, yes, of course. He
As
does
he
earn
likes
that
to
title.
state the obvious all the time, yes.
The entire planet is one giant city. The entire casino is one giant grift. The entire...
So I have to run out there, Till, but it's always good to see you in here.
Nice to see you. Alberto of Calderon. I think for Star Wars names, we just need to start adding of. For Brennan of Mar. Paul of Preston.
Well, it's better than the generate your Star Wars name, because my Star Wars name is Marber Befro.
No,
But
that's
Paul,
not
you
bad.
had a good way to create. What was the Italian food shortcut
Oh,
for creating your?
I've heard that, but for some reason, the only one I'm remembering is the really convoluted one. First 3 letters of your last name, first 2 letters of your first name. Second word is first 2 letters of your sibling's name, last 3 letters
Oh,
of your
God.
hometown. Like, it was totally stupid, but I ended up being Prepa Wenta, which is a total Star
Ooh.
Wars name. So
Whatever the Italian food shortcut you gave me that one
Yeah,
time really
I remember
works.
we did that in movie
can't remember
nonsense
what it
once.
was.
We have a couple of guests waiting in the wings, so we'll add them.
All right, let's
Good
bring him
friend
on.
Snark.
Who we got here? Hey,
Hi, Snark. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are all of you?
Snark
And my
of
good
Calderon.
friend Cheryl.
Yeah, that's right.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hello.
Cheryl.
Yes, hello. Yes, Cheryl Corbin. Yay.
Now it's a party.
and
this is
Snark's
cool.
Pulled
got
me
a-
away from preparing for Dragon Con, so hello.
Oh,
boy.
is that going on soon?
14 days, 13 days, depending on when you arrive. It's day 0 of the con, or day -1, or the day it actually
Well,
starts.
it's day 1 of GalaxyCon in San Jose right now, so.
Are you doing
How many of
trivia?
those questions did you get right?
0.
Okay, yeah, okay.
You got the
I got
quote,
one
the
of them
C-3PO quote. He got
Oh,
one of the
thanks, Nick.
3 of Adam's
Or-
first question.
Thank you, Nikki, so much.
And he got the bonus with Wicket's brother, Wonka.
Mm.
Whittle.
Are you doing Star Wars trivia, Cheryl?
No,
Oh.
I did see it last year, and last year
Oh
was
my gosh.
hilarious.
I tried to do the Dragon Con trivia.
Yeah.
No, it's impossible.
So last year, the guy
It's impossible, even
running
for a
it
computer.
was in Australia, and they had his parents ask the questions. So there were some jokes back and forth there. And because he was in Australia doing biology research or something, it was very aquatic and animal focused. So
The answer is gooberfish.
Gooberfish.
Wait a minute. I did ask Brennan what anniversary this was, and he said 7. So he got that one right.
He
too.
got that correct, too.
Yes.
That's pretty
yeah.
good. That's better than I did.
It was
Yeah.
much less impossible Star Wars trivia, but
Yes, and the other trivia question is what poster does Snark have behind him? It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
There you go. It's close enough to Star Wars.
Yes, close enough indeed.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, Adam and Paul, do you guys have a few more, or do you have to run out, or?
I'm
I got-
out.
I'll have to take off in a moment here, Paul, if you got to go, but I got 2 more.
No, I mean, I'm out of
questions.
questions. I can hang for another
Oh,
few
okay,
more
gotcha.
minutes.
Oh, sure. Can you stick
Not,
around
sorry,
again?
that felt like I'm out.
I'm out, baby.
No, I'm out of questions.
here's a question. What is
yeah.
on page 177 of the last command? Read what is the word?
Mara J kills Jorah Sadeo.
Wait, what page?
177 of
All right,
the
hold,
last
please.
command.
Hold on. I think it's.
I
It's,
feel
uh,
he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it.
Which, by the way, this
Oh,
was
you know
difficult.
What? It's
to
Leia
get.
on Hanogar with Rook.
The
Am I right?
non-legends branded ones. They're like hard to find these days.
Yeah.
177.
Is this cheating?
I think
Well,
so.
no, we'll just
Well,
listen to
I'll
you.
remember the scene once I
You got the
hear it.
original hardcover.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
It might
Yes.
be double spaced. It might be double
My-
spaced.
My mom used
That's
to have
true.
those.
Could be a different page.
Mhm.
Oh,
Okay,
right.
what do you got there, Paul? Let's hear it.
There was a Nogri standing there, all right?
See,
Little
I was
squad.
right. I was right. I said
Yeah?
it was Leia on Hanogar
Oh, did
What?
you? Well, there you go.
with the Nogri. I did say that.
This
yeah.
is impossible.
Okay.
This
So-
is amazing.
Yeah, that is the first
That's impossible, even for a computer.
There we
It's
go.
not impossible. I could build like one for stack home.
Back up in Crescent City.
Yeah.
Hey, Brennan, in A New Hope, who flies as Gold 5 at the Battle of Yavin?
Oh, Gold 5. Ooh, Kian Thorlander. I have no idea.
Pete
That's a-
Diamond.
That's a pretty good guess. Peter Diamond.
Peter Diamond.
Davish Pops Crawl.
It's a good name.
It's a good one.
Very common name.
Huh.
Wait,
That's
is that a
okay.
Star Wars
Awesome.
name? Because it's also a perfectly good British actor who could have been in that movie.
That's true. I
Probably
think I read
dubbed
it.
over by an American.
He had a minor role in Dad's Army for a while before he got on to Star Wars.
And he
All right,
was on
David
MASH, and he
Foxcroft.
was on, he was on MASH, Gunsmoke, and Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh, shit.
What does ATM-6 stand for? All-Terrain Mega Caliber 6. Now that is absolutely something that would be asked in the Schmodown.
Terrain Mega Caliber 6. Wait, what is that? That's a.
No, it stands for Adam asking made-up questions.
See,
No.
now I'm waiting for the Deadpool answer to that question. Come on, what is that?
Ooh.
What was I don't know what movie that was in, ATM-6. I had that written down without a reference. I didn't get to format all these questions.
I think it was
He made it up.
I think it
Oh,
was
Oh, no,
in,
that's the
Attack
the
of
walkers on at the end of Last Jedi, ATM-6.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
nickname
the-
for
the
him was
big-
the
The
Guerrilla Walkers?
Guerrilla
Yeah,
Walkers,
yeah.
I
yes.
think Deadpool said something like, "I'd give you the answer, but I don't watch Star Wars on TV."
Right.
And then we have to exorcise Ryan Reynolds from their conversations. And that jokes about Star Wars for shame.
In The Force Awakens, what Star Destroyer does Rey drive her speeder past on her way to Nema Outpost?
Holy.
It's the
Wow.
Ravager.
Ooh, no, I believe that is a
Ravager?
crashed ship. I think that's the one
That's a
she's
Transformer.
scavenging.
Yeah, she's scavenging the Ravager, I think.
Yeah, this was the Inflictor. So
The
the Ravager.
Inflictor.
That's.
There we go.
I'll give you points though because you did get the one she was scavenging.
It
Yeah.
doesn't sound like the Empire was ever trying to win over the people with some of their names. For their
Right?
Star
Yeah,
Destroyers.
not good advertising.
That's right.
The
They never call them
Destroyer!
the Friendship.
The Avenger.
It's literally the friendship. Come on, love us,
Yeah, come on.
please,
Yeah.
before we
that's right.
enslave you.
Yeah,
We're the
in modern politics, they would
Killers.
name all those things happiness, flag, patriotism, country.
Yeah.
Twilight Sparkle.
Reagan, the Reagan. Yeah.
The Reagan. Yeah.
The Twilight Sparkle. The naming it the Reagan might scare some people.
This is the Twilight Sparkle. What does it do? Well, it kills humans.
Yeah,
It destroys the entire
pretty
population.
obvious.
Yeah. The Deadpool, the Wolverine, the Snark. Yeah.
Those are good names for battleships. The
Yeah.
Deadpool, the Wolverine, the Snark.
It'd be a fun game. Star Destroyer or Transformer, right?
Mm.
Devastator.
Devastator.
Yeah.
The Inflictor.
Inflictor is pretty nice.
Yeah.
The Ravager. I mean, that's got to be both, right?
I think that's both. I think it is. Isn't it Ravager?
With
It's
that
Ravager.
wrestler.
Oh, Ravage is the little puma that comes out of sound.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
one of the cassette things or whatever they're
The
called.
greatest
it's,
toy
um,
ever invented.
Loved
the-
it.
Yeah,
Or
it's a-
it's wrestler names.
Oh, it's a cassette,
Wrestler names.
and he pops out cassettes, and they transform too.
Yeah, Ravager. And what was I can't remember the name of the guy who just, the cassette tape that just pops out and just starts pounding on the ground or whatever. too.
Ravage, eject. Who's that? Rumble.
Rumble.
Eject.
Oh.
What starship is that? That is the Shia LaBeouf.
Mm.
Starscream.
It's French.
That kid is something else. Well,
What was Wicket's son's name as seen at the end of
Oh,
Rise of Skywalker?
Plummet. Plummet.
You're so close. I have Pompeii. Am I incorrect?
It's
Is it,
Plummet.
it's Pommet?
Yes.
Oh. Whatever I looked it
That's
up
like an
on.
extra
Pompeii.
point. That's an extra
That's an
point.
extra point, yes. Wow.
Pompey the Ewok? Okay, that's a new
Wow. What's Wicket's middle name?
one. Wistry.
Get the out of here. That is absolutely correct. You win the entire match on that one. That's
Yes.
incredible.
I'm looking
And
forward.
still champion, Brennan
Here's one for you. Here's one for you.
Yeah.
And then you can guess this. You get kudos from me.
Okay.
Ooh, I'll take a kudos.
I got the first
What
line. Of
elevator does Obi-Wan tell R2-D2 to open in
Oh, yes. Okay.
Wrath into the Sith?
It begins with 1-1.
Oh, I saw it once.
I can
1137. 113746.
You're close.
Am
You're
I?
Very close.
Well, then let me guess.
31174.
Oh, wait.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. What is
What'd
it?
you say?
31174.
Oh, I had out of order.
No,
Yeah.
I thought it'd be fun if it was like
Paul,
9.
I'll ask you.
It just-
Open elevator 9.
So, Paul, what elevator does Luke tell R2 to open? Or what trash compactor does Luke tell R2?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Yeah,
Open.
it should
What
be easy,
number
but
is
I'm
it?
not a Star Wars guy. Open all the trash compactors on the detention level. Open all the trash compactors on the detention level. That's your answer.
Actually, incorrect. It's open all the garbage smashers on the detention.
Garbage smashers.
Shall I answer?
No,
Brennan?
yes,
me
go
guess.
ahead. Go
Let me
ahead.
guess. Let
Alan.
me guess. Let me guess. TK421. No, I got nothing. What is it?
Okay,
Pretty close. Why aren't you at your post?
not at his
DK421,
post,
aren't you
right.
post? 3263827.
you got it.
Wow.
Why do you know these numbers?
Now that was so funny that was supposedly a hard question early on in Star Wars because it's just something that sticks in your head if you're a Star Wars fan. You know that number. The one in Revenge of the Sith is much harder. It doesn't stick.
Now, to freak everybody else out who's watching, was that line just said on the screen behind Adam, Brennan?
I think it
Is
was.
that-
I think it was.
He planned this. He was waiting.
Oh no, it's coming up here.
It's coming up. Yeah, I think it's coming up.
Yeah.
Yes.
This reminds me, though, of talking about Wicket, that I'm looking forward to the standalone Wicket film coming out with Ariana Grande this
Oh, that'll be
this
nice.
Thanksgiving. So
Mhm.
that's gonna be exciting. Looks like there's music.
Okay, it was
It's a
like,
choice, but it should be fun.
Please be true. Please be true. Please be true.
Oh,
I mean, if they can make a Deadpool and Wolverine movie, anything is possible in the world, kids. Anything is possible.
It's
Uh,
Hollywood
Deadpool-
magic.
if Deadpool shows up in Star Wars, I'm gonna be real upset.
Won't happen.
They're never going to break the fourth wall in Star Wars. That is a no-no.
Well, I mean, don't they hide a little R2D2 in like Star Trek explosion? So like you
Yes.
never know. He
Yeah,
could
yeah.
be
Star Trek
somewhere
First
in
Contact.
something.
Paul, what was the
In
thing you
Star Trek
discovered
First Contact.
Yeah, I was
from
just
the
gonna
Dark
say,
Crystal?
if you look closely at a Skeksis eyeball, it's actually a little die-cast TIE fighter.
Oh,
what?
Anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the picture to share.
But now
I
you'll
think.
have to do your Chamberlain impressions. Or whatever what's that noise he makes? He makes that.
Skeksis?
Yeah, he makes that weird little.
Wah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think I've seen the Dark Crystal since it came out, and I was at my buddy's birthday party, and we sat to see it twice.
Oh,
We went to the
nice.
early show, and we saw it again. What was it? 1982. I
yeah.
was 8 years old or whatever, so that was a pretty big deal.
I was
Watching
so
a movie like
sad when they canceled the series
Well, that series
because
did
season 1 was really good.
and it really loved Dark Crystal. It was
Yes.
such a great Dark Crystal follow-up that could have been made in 1983,
Ooh.
Yep. All right. Well, any more questions there, guys? Or is that...
I'm out. Well, you go out on a high note. You just nailed that last one there.
Yeah, I
It's,
think you nailed. Here, I don't have. I might be tough to share, but it's okay. So we have Skeksis, right?
Nice.
Mhm.
Look at the eye.
Yeah.
When you zoom in on it, supposedly, that's what you're looking at. A little sideways TIE
Yeah.
fighter
Yeah.
die-cast thing.
Interesting.
That's near and dear to my heart because that was one of the things you saw in stores a lot was the die-cast Millennium Falcon. I still have my Millennium Falcon. It was one of the greatest toys of all time because there's a Millennium Falcon you could put in your pocket. It's this
Yep.
little die-cast Millennium Falcon. But yeah, the TIE Fighter, I never had that one. I had the Star Destroyer. Those were
My brother
so
had the
cool.
Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
I remember back early.
heavy.
This is
They were heavy.
79. Yes. 79, 80. I guess they had the Star Wars fan club. Maybe 78, 79. They had
Mhm.
the Star Wars fan club. My brother enrolled me in
Yes.
that and stuff like that. And I remember
Yes.
like the blue writing and stuff like that on it. You would
Oh,
get I can't remember, like I was 5 years old or whatever when I was starting to
Yeah.
get this stuff. So I remember a few things like when they come up with the new when Empire Strikes Back started coming out, they would give you the heads up about saving your stuff because you can get Bosk and all this other stuff. So
dude, one
Yep.
of the coolest things that ever happened was saving up the proof of purchase to get Boba Fett. And you'd
Mhm.
wait and wait and wait, and you had no concept of time. So it'd be like, send your proof of purchase, and you'll get it within 9 weeks or something. I can't remember what they said, but
Mhm.
I don't know how long 9 weeks is. But just what, and then but it waited till you forgot about it, and then suddenly in the mail was Boba Fett.
my
the
worst
greatest thing
Christmas memory ever was being in my parents' room around Christmas time, and I accidentally saw a figure for Boba Fett. This is it would have been 1980 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Christmas
right.
1980.
You just have
And-
to accidentally see it, huh?
Well, yeah. Well, I was in there.
You
No,
weren't looking for
my mother was wrapping presents,
Mhm.
and there was Boba Fett, and supposedly my
Oh.
brother had picked that out for me.
Nice.
Like that was my my Christmas present. So he said, you know, you got to promise, you know, to be excited. I was going to be excited. So I got Boba Fett. He ended up getting the Millennium Falcon that year, so I think he won. He did win. It's not like it was one of those rocket firing Boba Fetts or whatever. It was pretty stuck in there, if I remember right.
Yeah, I have actually visited where Boba Fett made his first public debut. San Anselmo, California,
Right, the
which is
parade.
where George Lucas was the parade in 1978.
Oh,
How do you guys remember? This is
In like
bananas.
July of
Bananas.
78, Boba Fett first made his first public appearance.
That's amazing. And that was
know.
an all-white Boba Fett at that time, or they'd already
I
painted
think so.
it, or had they painted it by then? I can't remember.
Bananas.
Yeah, but of course that was many years before I was born. But still,
Yeah. Well-
Brendan, I got to scoot. I got
I have-
to
I
go
have
prep
walked
the place
down
for
the street.
guests.
well, thank you so much for coming in, Paul. Adam, can you stick around, or
Hey, I'll hang around for a little
do
bit.
you
Good
got
seeing you,
or do you
Paul.
got to run?
Adam, damn fine seeing you, buddy.
Take care. Hey, man.
Well, Paul,
Let's
so
hang
good
out
to see
sometime
you.
to do a podcast.
Let's
Okay?
Thanks for joining us.
let's bump it
Oh,
out.
Let's bump.
Well,
So
Paul-
close. Pretty
well,
good.
Paul, thanks
Pretty
for
good.
joining us.
Hey, let's do this again in a year
Yes.
at Jack
Oh, yes.
Purvis's July 13th birthday
Yes,
celebration when we remember him.
yes, I agree there. All right, Paul, good to see you.
See ya.
Now, speaking as the oldest here, I believe.
Ooh, I don't know. That's close. I was
Yeah.
wondering that myself.
Yeah.
Snark,
Well,
you
I'm
kinda
actually
look,
22, and I decided to give myself an Adam Witt cut and color.
You know what's funny is this. I've had this color of hair now for 10 years, and I started going gray when I was like 28 or
I
something.
was 18.
Yeah. I started going gray very early. Salt and pepper for a long time, and now what's weird is new, very black hairs have started coming in. My hair
Ooh.
was never as black as the hairs that are coming in now, so maybe I'm salt and pepper forever. I'll never go officially white, but
Oh,
Man,
by the
that-
way, if you're watching, please give a like to this video if you would. That would
Kill the
very much
lights?
help the channel.
Do it, or the Sith will find you.
Oh my God.
Well, I wouldn't use that kind of, motivation.
The only
Threatening.
motivation, we've already discussed this, Ravagers, whatever. Like you got to go with the Iron Fist. You can't be Care Bears.
Oh darn, you can't name it the friendship. Darn,
No.
Yeah.
no.
it has to be like the Punisher or something really nasty.
The partnership. That'd be a nice name for a Star Destroyer.
the partnership. That'd be, again, the friendly one that they try and fool you with. Like, hey, it's called the partnership. What does it do? It destroys
What-
planets.
100% is the worst one.
Hey,
That is the
partner, let
worst.
me just grab you by the shoulder, lead you over here to this room, lock you in for the rest of your life.
By the way, we are watching the famous lightsaber fight from The New Hope.
Love it.
is mind blowing.
Alec Guinness being the only actor in Star Wars to ever get an Oscar nomination.
Didn't
Is that
Harrison
true?
Ford get one?
No,
Oh, you mean as
No.
for the
For-
movies?
Alec
Witness
Guinness
or
was
something,
nominated
yeah.
for That's
So to
supporting
bring
actor
us
for A New Hope.
to bring us back to Dragon Con, this is actually reminding me of the Star
boy.
Wars party at Dragon Con,
Yeah.
the last night of Alderaan, because they have playing on the screens like GIFs and Star Wars clips while the DJ is playing music and everyone's dancing with lightsabers. It's just really fun clips like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Snark seems to have vanished on us. There you go.
He's preparing
Yeah,
more
I
trivia
mean, well,
questions.
looking
for
for
you.
love in Alderaan places. I've always
Clever.
wanted to use that pun.
Very clever.
In fact, if you're in the chat, give me a good Star Wars pun.
Pun.
Let's see your
That
favorite Star Wars pun.
That can be your series for this year. Like, everything needs to tie into that theme.
Star Wars puns.
Yeah.
Came in that thing? You're braver than I thought. Nice. I'm just saying lines now. A pun. Looking for love in Alderaan places. Let's see.
I mean, that's like the most, to me, that was the most obvious one.
Classic. It's
Oh,
classic.
I see a cat.
Kitty, kitty.
Sherlock
Sherlock.
has wandered in briefly before she went
Sherlock.
away. Hi, Cat.
Outside.
Yeah, my cat is around here, but she's hanging out with my sister.
Special appearance.
And
by
she's not my
Pantera.
cat, she's my sister's cat. That's
Pikachu is sleeping too far away to grab. So,
Pikachu the troublemaker.
yes.
Oh boy.
He chose violence yesterday. So,
He
He
chose,
chose violence.
chose poorly.
Mine chooses violence.
He
all the
chose-
time.
He chose poorly.
Pikachu had timeout yesterday. Got to separate them once
My
in a blue
cat-
moon.
Cat and timeout. Oh my word.
My cat Pantera started as a street cat, and so he's become inside. But he does not forget his old thing, which is he used to be sheriff of my old neighborhood and just chase everything away. And the other night, I'm out there talking to a friend who's got 2 dogs. Here comes someone with 2 other dogs, and those dogs start going
Yep,
at
the
it.
dog-
And here
Charles
goes my cat
is named
running
Pikachu.
down the driveway and just starts going into the fray of these 4 dogs, swatting them. I was like, Jesus.
Actually, the cat that she was holding was Sherlock.
Can't take the cat out
Pikachu.
of the hood.
Pikachu is the kitten that's a troublemaker.
Oh my
Whose
God.
cat's Pikachu?
Sure,
That's
there's the
Pikachu?
other one. There's Pikachu.
Oh, that's a great name for a cat, actually.
Yep. Trouble, it seems.
And I'm just gonna say this.
For those who are watching
Everyone
the
else can see
webcam,
that her background is blurry, right? It's
Yeah.
just a yeah,
Yeah, it's not you. Yeah.
For those listening, we have cats on camera. Yay!
And now I'm stuck. So my hands are have an occupation right now.
oh boy.
Indeed.
I want to guest appearance by mine, but my door is open, which means he's out patrolling.
Causing trouble. Yeah.
Yep.
Getting into
That's
fights.
what cats do. I mean,
He's the
it's just how
sheriff.
it is.
Yeah.
100% that cat smokes when you're not watching.
Mm. No wonder
Are we gonna
that cat
this?
sometimes.
Mhm.
Anyhow, but yeah, my cat, well, it's not my cat, my sister's cat, Nina, is quite a character. We'll see if she shows up one of these days. But she's quite the cat. She is a character.
How many cats do you have?
One, just the one.
Just the one.
That's all I can really handle. A very spoiled cat. So,
I no longer have cats. I still have the 2 dogs.
and what are your dog's names, Snarks?
Tripper, in honor of one of my all-time favorite sitcom characters, and Potter, in name of
From
a-
Ash?
yeah, Potter from Ash.
or
Sherman
Harry?
Potter. Sherman Potter.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to
This
figure
one-
out how old
this one
Stark
had-
is. I'm like, Harry Potter or MASH? Because I can tell how old you are depending on what you say
the
there.
great
Well,
Harry
it was
Morgan.
yeah.
Harry Morgan.
The name was almost Lennon. Like
Dragnet.
when she was a little puppy, she had black circles all the way, like totally round circles all around her eyes.
So, it looked like
So she was
glasses.
almost Lennon. And then I said, no, it's got to be Potter.
Ah.
So it's
You know,
Potter.
it's interesting you mentioned Nash because I'm binge watching Nash right now.
Love
Are
it.
you?
I just did that a few years ago. I love
Yeah,
that
I'm
show.
in season 7 right now.
It's fantastic.
Oh, wow. So,
Yeah.
who, in season 7, Is Klinger there yet? Yeah.
Yeah, Klinger's
Oh,
been
yeah.
there the whole time.
Yeah, he's the one. He's there every single. It's Radar is the one that's gonna. Well, I don't want to say anything. And then
Raider
what's his-
O'Reilly. Oh, hi,
Yeah.
Brandy.
oh,
Brandy's
Brandy.
in the chat.
Hello.
That's someone who's
Pikachu
giving me
says
hell in
hi.
person.
Brandy, if you want to come in, I can send you the link.
Let's see.
But yeah, I'm in
I don't want.
season
I don't want to
7.
leave until someone else comes in, so that we have the perfect symmetry of the 4 here. But I'll
Yeah,
be
but
taking off
the,
whenever someone else pops in.
But yeah, Master and binge watching, love it. I mean,
Have you never seen it? Have you never seen MASH before,
never seen
Brennan?
it.
Oh, really?
Like, when I grew up with it being on like
Yep.
every day.
All the time.
Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
a big treat watching MASH because it was also
Um,
on pretty late for here.
And I've seen the movie a few times, which is nothing like the show.
Yeah, that's,
Oh,
no.
That's what blew my
Really?
mind. When I found out there was a movie, right as I was getting into movies, and I'd been watching MASH since I was a little kid, because at the time I was
You got
growing
it,
up,
Lego. You got it. Mhm.
at the time I was growing up, it was still on prime time once a week because it was
Mhm.
still going. But
Yep.
the reruns would be the hour before they'd run 2 episodes, so you'd watch this 90-minute
Oh.
block of MASH.
Nice.
But when they did the final episode, the very famous final episode, that whole evening they ran the MASH movie, and then the very first episode of MASH, and then the final episode of MASH, which was like really
So when
cool.
they were about to release that last, like was it Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen or whatever?
That's
I
right,
think
that's
No,
what
what
it's
no
called.
spoilers, though. I haven't
So-
gotten there.
No.
No. Also, it ran for whatever it was, 10 years, and
11
the
seasons. Yeah.
the Korean War was.
Right.
Less than 3.
Even though
But,
it was 2, 3 years.
My mother would always put on this country music station here in Winnipeg, where I live, and there was
Oh,
a
okay.
guy who released a song called "Goodbye Hawkeye," and I remember that song being like the most popular song that would always play.
Really?
I hated it. Like
I
no,
thought you were
don't
gonna
get me
say
wrong.
Suicide.
After a while, the song makes you want to hit yourself in the head.
I
But it was
thought you
like
were gonna
"Goodbye
say the
Hawkeye,
song-
so long Houlihan." I will never forget that song for as long as
I thought
that
you were
was
going to say the
1983.
name of the theme song from the movie.
Suicide
which
is
is
painless.
Painless.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great song.
How can you write a country song dedicated to MASH and not call it "Goodbye, Farewell, Amen," which sounds like a perfect country
Yeah.
song?
I have an idea he didn't know what the title was going to be. They just knew
Yeah.
that MASH was ending.
I love trend jumping songs. Remember Pac-Man Fever
Of course.
and
Yes, of course.
Disco Duck? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Disco Duck. Wow.
I love a good a trend
Do
jumping
you guys
song.
remember the disco cover of the Star Wars theme?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Remember that?
And
Yes.
also, here's a bit of trivia for you. Like if you remember Late Night with David Letterman at all.
Oh,
yeah,
so
I was obsessed.
Yeah.
Far more than MASH, yeah. That's
Will
just something.
Lee and Anton Fig both play on that Star Wars disco album.
What?
Yeah. Also, if
Two
you
of-
want more, Anton Fig was basically the drummer for Kiss because Peter Criss couldn't play.
And then we'll do
He
He wasn't
outta
very
here.
good at it.
the
So
Bill
Anton Fig just
Murray-
played.
and then, of
He was
course, Bill
almost
Murray-
replacing. He was almost Eric Carr.
Wow.
Then, of course, Bill Murray is the lounge singer on SNL.
Love
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Love it.
Star
Nothing but
Wars.
I just saw one of those remake guys or whatever did a Star Wars action figure just for the lounge singer or whatever for that, and Paul
Oh, I did. I
Schaefer.
saw that fake action figure. It's so
But I
good.
Yeah,
gotta say, that
I'd like to see
disco
the Paul
cover of the
Schaefer
Star
guy
Wars
doing
theme-
the piano and stuff first.
That disco cover of the Star Wars theme is amazing.
It's
Pretty
amazing.
good. Pretty good.
Had the
The whole
album when I
album,
was a
I
kid.
guess.
Yeah, I had the album when I was a kid, and I had like the Star Wars soundtrack album, of course. But
Yeah.
I'd love to, like, if I was to pick either album now, it'd be the disco album for sure. It's
Ready for the
amazing.
line here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's almost time for
Two
that's
music
impossible. Wait for your
lines.
computer, right?
I don't know. I would say the Deadpool movie, the soundtrack is phenomenal for that.
Incredible.
Okay,
right.
all right.
It is
Yeah,
stuck
terrific.
in my head. for
Terrific.
2
I am not afraid to say that Deadpool and Wolverine is one of the greatest movies ever made.
I loved it.
Like,
I was talking to Cheryl about this yesterday because I'm a little bit reluctant to see the Deadpool films because
Oh.
they're a little bit more foul, then I.
Oh yeah, it's not
Oh,
for
sure.
you. Oh, it's not
Oh,
for
yeah.
you, Brian.
Well, but so here's the thing. Here's the
But
thing.
Cheryl
If you
thinks
look
the new one
at
is.
I don't know
the
about
first
that.
one is
Yeah, no.
definitely like, as far as rated R goes, I'm usually like, oh my god, that's gory, like too much. I did not do that once with the latest film, and I don't think it was like too hard R compared to what it could have been if
Because
somebody
I've
else
heard
had
about
it.
some of the things that happened in the first movie, and I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
there's
don't
a
think it's for
difference.
you, Brennan. But
The
You like
third one
comic
is
books,
much
though?
more fun, I would say.
I love comic books, but and the little not adult humor is not my thing.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
There's
on that one,
definitely
actually.
some
Yeah,
scenes worth
it's,
worth skipping through some, and like one of the scenes is very much like a comic book set of frames, and you're just
Right.
like,
Yeah.
this looks so
100%.
cool. So
No.
there's scenes you should
Mhm.
definitely see from it.
I don't know how Marvel does it, but when it goes through their machine, it comes out feeling like a comic book. And so you have examples over and over now where you're like Deadpool, you know, when you watch Deadpool 1, Deadpool 2, and they bring Cable into Deadpool 2 and the X-Force and stuff, and you go,
Amazing.
oh, these are comic things. And then you think, oh, it's almost kind of achieved what Marvel's been doing
Oh,
in terms
sorry, I
of
got a
doing.
quote. Han Solo's about to say it.
Oh.
May the Force be with you.
Oh, Luke.
I was watching
Yeah.
when they were doing the meeting
What are
and
you
stuff
looking
like
at?
that,
I
and I
know
was
what I'm
waiting
doing.
for Rosie LaRose from Strange Brew.
Yeah.
wow.
When he says,
Wow.
what good is our snub fighters going to do against that?
Is that
That's-
Rosie LaRose?
That's Rosie.
God,
That's
that blows
Rosie.
my mind when I find out stuff like that because I was obsessed with that movie too.
Yeah,
And for
I love
those
it.
who are listening,
Brennan,
Canadian,
you
what
need to
is
see
it?
Strange Brew
Yeah, what's the
before
matter?
you see Deadpool 3. Yeah.
for those who are listening and not able to see, Adam's got A New Hope playing over his shoulder.
Oh yes, we have people listening in,
So we have to quote along with it. I mean, you know.
of course.
This one, I'd actually know what's going on. When, like, with the first three or whatever, I know
Oh,
what's
and
going
here
on.
we go with
The next three are close.
Don't start a
then the new ones I have
relationship with
no
your
idea.
sister. Don't
here's
do
Big-
it.
He doesn't
Here's
know.
Biggs.
Do you guys honestly think that George had an idea that those guys were going to be siblings? Do you think he already
No.
had the Bible? There's no way, right?
No,
No, he wouldn't have put.
No,
There's
any
no
of the-
way.
Yeah,
They
no.
had
no.
zero knowledge that they were going to get beyond the
How's it
first
going, eh?
movie. They thought it was going to bomb. They had no idea that it was going to blow up the way it did.
No,
And
not
here's
at all.
Biggs. I can tell you the name of the actor who plays Biggs.
Oh, I bet you I can too.
It's oh my gosh, is it Garrett Hagon or
Oh, it is Garrick Hagan.
Garrett Hagon?
What a great name.
He had a
By the
fantastic
way,
mustache.
he was in Batman in 1989. He's
That's
the
right.
dad of the family that gets attacked.
That's right. In
When,
fact,
when Batman saves them from those thugs, or
it's a great piece of
Well,
trivia that there
Batman
are
starts
3
with
Star
thugs,
Wars
he
actors in
doesn't
that
say.
movie.
Yeah, Porkins is in that one too,
Porkins
right?
yes,
is in that?
Porkins is Eckhart. It's
Lando.
Eckhart.
Garrick Hagan and Lando. Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, no, I'm my mistake. Batman doesn't save the family; he beats up those criminals.
Good.
Right, after they get
And then, of
robbed.
course, Porkins shows up.
All
as
fighters
Eckhart.
to your stations. All fighters to your stations.
Yeah, I'm right with you, Red 3. Whatever Porkins says right before he blows up. But I mean, you must give a shout out, of course, to Jack Porkins, played by the great William Hootkins.
Yes.
He plays Eckhart in Batman and many other great characters.
Isn't it
He was in
incredible?
Raiders of the Lost Ark
Raiders
as
of the
well,
Lost
right?
Ark.
That's right. He's one of the government men.
Can you imagine having an acting career that involves you being in Batman, Star Wars, and Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Pretty good. And still no one knows your name. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys know his name.
He's
But,
also
you know.
in that
Who
Harrison Ford
has
movie,
the Ark?
that World War II Harrison Ford movie. I
Right,
can't think of
who
what it's
has
called
Well,
right
the
there
now.
are some of those actors who are just like background characters in like 100+ films. Like,
Love him.
just who they are.
But then there's things like what's his face from Cheers, who's in Superman the movie and Empire
John
Strikes Back.
Ratzenberger.
John Ratzenberger. It's
John
like,
Ratzenberger.
how is he in both those movies?
Cliff Clavin. Incel.
Cliff Clavin. Thank you.
I just binge watched Cheers last year, so I'm.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
MASH
that's
is the
awesome.
new Cheers.
I love
for
the
this year.
episode where
I think that's the first time that
Classic.
sentence has ever been said.
You know, MASH is the new Cheers.
I love the episode of Cheers where John Ratzenberger's Cliff gets an electroshock installed that every time he says something obnoxious, it shocks him.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've ever seen
That's a
that.
great episode.
I was more of a Night Court guy. You know, that
Love Night
block
Court.
of entertainment was so great. I
Ah.
wouldn't miss Cosby Show. I wouldn't miss Family Ties. I'd take a little break during Cheers, kind of because I got to gear up for Night Court. Night Court was never missed.
Well, here's the thing that's interesting about that is so you all know that on Mondays it's my Star Trek episodes.
Sure.
Of course.
So Brent Spiner,
Everybody does,
before-
Brennan. Everybody does.
Brent Spiner, before he was Data on Star Trek, was on Night Court.
Was he?
He was the hillbilly guy that shows up every so often.
I'll have to go look at that again because I know those episodes well. I wouldn't,
So
but I wouldn't have
interesting
known Brent
connections
Spiner
there.
until after that because of Star Trek. You know.
But of course, Harry Anderson from Night Court was on Cheers also.
Yes.
Yeah?
That's
Magician.
Harry the Hat.
Right. He was
Yes,
on Saturday Night Live before that.
Yes.
I missed that.
Well, SNL around like 85 in the Eddie Murphy years would
They
have
were
a lot of
floundering.
magicians on. Yeah,
Floundering.
yeah. They would have a lot of like the sort of Andy Kaufman slot from the original.
Oh,
They kind of
yes.
filled that with some stand-ups and magicians and stuff. Harry Anderson was on there. I remember that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Vodka Gravis from Taxi.
Latka Gravis.
it-
God,
it's-
that's a good name for a pet. Latka.
Laka.
Vodka's
No,
actually a good
it's
Star
not
Wars name.
food. You don't eat your pets.
Well,
Well, nah, that's
some countries
Latkeys.
you do, but-
No.
in some countries you do, but we don't need to talk about that.
Okay. All right.
Hold on a second. I need to see.
Maybe Jabba the Hutt eats his
We need
pets, I
another
don't know.
cat. Mine have abandoned us.
I need to go check on my cat. I might use that as an excuse to leave because
I thought you were looking around for
Well,
a potato
if you-
pancake.
If you have to go, Adam, I've got one question for you before
Okay.
you go. What is something about Star Wars that always makes you smile?
oh, it always makes
What
me
is one
smile.
thing about it or one thing in it that every time you think about it makes you happy?
This is a deep question here. Well, a specific moment from the movie, a movie. What is? I really love the
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that juggler. Wait, put that back up.
That's sorry, yeah, Michael Davis.
Right. I
You're
remember
right,
that guy and
Miguel,
trying to
yes.
find out who he
Yeah.
was later on when YouTube came up because he was fantastic. Because he would do like a thing where he juggled a chainsaw and an axe or whatever, and then he's like, and then you run like hell. But
And then Randy says, "How dare you miss Cheers?"
what makes me so happy?
So yeah,
about
whenever you
Star
think about it,
Wars-
it just makes you happy.
I guess it's just this sort of the rip roaring sort of storytelling where you hit the ground running. There's such an
Yeah.
exhilaration to the storytelling, particularly in the first one, but they all kind of do it. And
I
I
mean
think
the in medias res starting in the middle.
in media res sort of thing, because one of my favorite things about Star Wars is in Episode 4, which is the vastly
Yeah.
superior to all the rest of them, obviously.
Obviously.
But that the fact that the storytelling is such that you have so many questions for
Mhm.
30 minutes. Exactly 30 minutes. And in that point, every question is answered, and you meet Obi-Wan Kenobi, and that's where he starts going, well, the Force is what gives the Jedis their power. Here's the lightsaber. And you're like, wait, what's the Force? What's Jedi? Nobody brought any of this up before. Wait, the guy we've already seen before, Darth Vader, that's a Jedi. Wait, hold on. You know, I love that sort of, that storytelling style, but you're so swept up in it. And, you know, Paul and I have what I call the Han Solo rule, I guess I'll say, which is that before you meet Han Solo, Star Wars is already the best movie you've ever seen because of that storytelling style. And you get to Obi-Wan and all that stuff. And then there's that act break where it's like,
Well-
now he brought up the Jedi and all this stuff. What's going on? And then you meet Han Solo and you're like, we are just moving in this movie.
Well,
and
it's
now it's a
so
whole different
interesting
movie.
because exposition is difficult to do in movies.
Very hard.
But
Right.
the Obi-Wan Hut, where he explains it all,
Yeah.
is one of the greatest exposition scenes in film.
It's just an impossible thing that they pull off there because anybody else, and you can see the way people gripe now. What's really funny is when they do Star Wars TV shows and people are complaining after one episode and you're like, this is the equivalent of going, who's Luke? Who's Obi-Wan? What's a Jedi? And you're like, we've already asked these questions. This is the storytelling style of Star Wars. You know, you're like, you're
I
new,
agree.
right? That's what I
I
see that. I
agree.
go, well, you're new, obviously, right?
Yeah, that's the way it's always been done. Oh, there's Tarkin with Chief
Right. Right. And that's the other funny thing I
behind you.
find.
Look at those sideburns on.
Oh, yeah.
Classic.
Yes, oh my
What's his
gosh.
name again?
Moradin Bast.
That's right, Moradin Bast. God, what a great name. And they think it's hard to enjoy Star Wars trivia the way you and I had to study, Brennan, because it's so fun to know a name like Moradin Bast.
Jan
It's so fun.
Dodonna. Jan Dodonna and Willard Van.
It used to drive me nuts. It honestly used to drive me nuts because it was the movie trivia show, and all this was like, no, it's as much a book trivia show.
Yeah,
now.
well,
Not
when it
just
comes to
like
Star
the original
Wars.
book the source material is based on, but like here's an appendix of things that are never even
Okay,
spoken about in
no.
the movie.
the
or about
studying
book.
the
Like,
was incredible. You
Okay,
guys, I
Cheryl
can
and
imagine.
Snark.
Yeah.
mm.
I know Adam knows the answer to this question, but here's one
Oh, boy.
for you.
All right.
And this is the one from the movie. It is said in the movie.
Oh God.
I
What
turn
is
my
the-
ear to
what
the
is
to
the
the speaker as
only-
though I don't have headphones on. Go ahead.
Smart.
What
Smart.
is the only Star Destroyer actually named on screen? What is it called?
Oh, actually. Oh, wait. I know this.
See,
It's
I don't
from
know that.
Return of the Jedi, right?
Maybe.
When do they name it? Hold on. When do they name it?
Because there is one where you do not need a reference book.
Oh,
They
gosh.
can say it in the movie.
Oh, wait. Oh. And
See, I
where do
know
they say
Adam
it?
knows it, but
Adam's gonna get it. I have a feeling
Yeah,
it starts with
because-
a letter I.
because I agree with you guys that they should keep the questions from the movies. So the
There's
question
only
to
so
you
much
is,
you can
Maybe
do,
not
though,
for
for
Star
sure.
Wars.
See,
Yeah,
this
there's only so
this
much you
is
can do.
not how my brain works because like I haven't read I Jedi in years, but I remember what is it? Corran Horns, the
Yeah.
adopted father Booster has like a starship
Booster
destroyer
turret.
that he got from. I'm like, that's where my mind immediately
Yeah,
goes.
Cornhorn?
Or
Cornhole.
that one.
Horan.
Names,
Horan.
whichever way it goes, but I'm like, that's where my mind
That's
goes. I'm
right.
like, there's a Star Destroyer
Okay,
in that
here's one
book.
for you. Booster Tarek, the owner of the Errant Venture.
Yes,
What's this
Yes.
from?
This is from one of the books in the 90s.
it's
Oh.
a fabulous story.
I
I'm
did
Which
it.
story?
hoping Rogue
I haven't
Squadron
read it yet.
ties some of the things.
What's
that
the best
everyone
Star
agrees
Wars
is
book?
great.
Before
still
I
trying to-
leave,
The original Thrawn trilogy.
the Thrawn trilogy is the best.
I read that.
The original
Yeah,
Thrawn
those
trilogy.
are great. Wait, have you not read those, Adam?
Oh, back in the day. But,
Okay.
but,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
there's so many after that. And I tried to keep up for the
The
first
original
couple.
Thrawn
And, then,
trilogy, in my opinion, is the best Star Wars ever
and the new
written.
stuff I haven't really read that much. I remember
The best of the new books,
Harloff pinned me down once
Lost
when I was.
Stars.
Is what? Lost Stars?
Lost Stars is good. Shadows of the Sith is good.
Well, see, so there's
Um,
like some stories that I like that span multiple series. So isn't it Corran Horn or what's his name?
Cornhole.
Mm,
Corin Horn.
So
What
he
did that have?
appears
Never hear him
first
accurate.
in the first Rogue Squadron book, and like
Yes.
he's introduced, and his story goes in and out of
Yes.
Rogue Squadron. Then he became like a fan favorite, or he became like
Yes, he did.
he's the son of a Jedi who was
Hellhorn.
escaping, and
Hellhorn.
his story, his backstory is so amazingly interwoven between things.
And guess
But
what?
it's
We may
from
have
different
seen
books
him in
and
canon.
series, so you got to like piece it together, and
There is a
it's good.
possibility we have seen him in canon
That is true. He might have
in
appeared.
the Obi-Wan
so.
series. Yes, but you'd have to be a major nerd like me to get that.
Yeah.
And none of us are. None of us are, Brendan.
No,
We're,
no,
just,
no.
we're just not like you with the
And there
nerd
goes
and the Star
Tarkin.
Wars. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
By the way, behind you, Tarkin, we got to give a shout out to Peter Cushing. The
Yes,
great Peter
absolutely.
Cushing.
By the way, I think one of the great cuts in all of Star Wars is the fact that, and you could easily not have it, right before the Death Star explodes.
Yep,
you know,
you
you
get a
build
shot
up
of
to you
Tarkin.
build up to Luke. You know, put the thing in, and boom, victory! It's like a touchdown. But at the last second they show Tarkin before it explodes. Like the
Yes.
last thing you see before it explodes, I'm like, that is a baller move. Just show the interior Tarkin to make sure that you know he blew up too.
Yep.
That's the guy saying "stand by."
No.
Is that what's going on? He's saying "stand by" because the
Stand by,
lasers
This
yeah.
have to
is
go.
so interesting
This is such an editing
that Peter
miracle
Cushing
resulting
and
here.
Christopher Lee were best friends. And both of them ended up being in the Star Wars franchise.
I'd love a movie based on Christopher Lee. At least just
Yes.
the legends of
Yes.
Christopher Lee. That'd
That
be
was-
amazing.
That was so cool when
Dracula.
Christopher Lee showed up in Attack of the Clones because fans
Yes.
of cinema like us,
Yes.
you're like, yes, of course, it's such the perfect thing. I mean, I don't think kids at the time would know the
Oh,
lineage of that or whatever.
By
but-
the way, Adam, what was your answer to the question, or did you answer?
Oh, okay. That is named in one of
The
the
thing-
sequel trilogy, right?
Yeah, well, no, the name of the Star Destroyer is actually said in the original trilogy.
In the original trilogy. Gosh.
What is it called?
Give it to me.
It's not like
The
Annihilators.
Avenger.
Avenger.
They
That's
say the Avenger?
Yes.
Where at?
And the Empire Strikes Back, it's the Star Destroyer that finally captures the Millennium Falcon.
They say the Avenger?
Captain Nita is the captain of that one.
Oh, yes. Captain Nita, the ship no
Nita.
longer appears
Apology
in our scopes.
accepted, Captain Nita.
Apology accepted, Captain Nita.
Yeah, because the Falcon attaches itself to the back of the tower of the Avenger.
But who says the Avenger?
Piet, I think.
Does he? Okay.
No, one of the Admiral Piet's lieutenants says we're getting a priority signal
Oh, from the Avenger.
from the Star Destroyer Avenger.
Oh, okay. That's the line. Jeez, that's a
Thank you,
great
Christopher
one.
Lee, yes.
I love it.
He
He was a
including-
huge. Yeah, he was interesting.
including Christopher Lee's possible assassinations that he may have
Oh, he-
committed in World War
He
II.
killed many people.
Yeah.
Like he's a guy. Like I guess there's. Yeah, there's a.
he killed
talk
people as a
about-
spy and was in a metal band.
He knew
Yeah,
how
I was
someone-
going to mention the heavy metal band.
Right, yeah. That's,
Yeah.
Well, the story is that while they were filming Lord of the Rings, the scene when, spoiler alert, Sauron then gets stabbed in the back by Grima Wormtongue.
Spoilers.
yeah. Like
They
your
were
crowd
originally-
doesn't know that, Brendan.
They were originally going to have Sauron then make a certain
Mhm.
face, but Christopher Lee said that no, when you stab someone in the back, they do this. And
And you
nobody
bel-
bothered
you
to
just have to
ask
believe
him
it.
how he knew that.
Hmm.
I think he's been on missions that are still classified, even to this
Wow.
day, for World War II. Oh, by
He
the way,
was head- yeah.
we are at the throne room scene now.
Yes, and I think I'm going to leave as soon as it wipes out to the circle for the
Oh,
credits. Okay.
okay,
I'm
wait.
not literally
Before
going
On
to
you
brand,
leave,
on
I need
brand,
to bring
Adam.
us back to Dragon Con one last time in
Oh,
an attempt
boy.
to get people to
Oh, boy.
show up.
All right,
because
you have
we-
this long for me.
we were on
to-
Star Wars books, and Michael Stackpole wrote the one that I recommend, I Jedi.
Mhm,
He
mhm.
is at
I Jedi.
Dragon Con for Star Wars stuff, but he is also a main speaker on the conspiracy track. Tracks
Uh-oh.
run all weekend. In the 80s, he was
Uh-oh.
one of those people who fought the good fight and said Dungeons and Dragons is not bad for kids.
Oh,
It's
good.
not causing problems. So he actually was like going on talk shows and radios and like trying to like fight back against that whole stigma.
And we
back in
thank
the
him for
80s.
this.
So he talks about that and other things.
And we thank him for this.
Great
because
puzzle coming up too.
I can tell you,
I'm
I
gonna
can tell you, there's nothing satanic about D&D.
Mhm.
happy 7th anniversary, Brennan. My
Thank
my
you, Adam,
my,
so
my
very much.
circular wipe is about to take me out of this stream.
I like it.
But it's been fun spending
Well-
this with you and doing Star Wars trivia. And here's to another 7.
All right, thank
Yeah.
you.
Nice
Adam,
seeing
and
everybody
may the
here.
Force be with you.
Well,
And
Adam.
also with you.
Oh my god.
Perfection. Almost got it just right.
Almost.
The
Yeah, I was-
timing, I was almost at the iris.
When I was a kid, like we used to get you got the original action figures and stuff, which were cool. But we also got like the puzzles and stuff like that. I remember that was a puzzle, like the medal ceremony puzzle. I remember having that. Just an X-wing fighting a TIE fighter. I remember that one as well. The puzzles were great.
Well, that's interesting because for me, Micro Machines was my thing.
I was gonna ask you
I have so many Star Wars Micro Machines.
when you like now it's my time. I'll talk. I'll do a little interviewing on you here, Brennan. What was the first Star Wars movie you saw, and then which one was the first one you saw in the theaters?
First one I saw would have been A New Hope. On VHS, probably in 1989.
Sure.
First one I saw in the theater would have been A New Hope because of the re-release in
Right, 97.
97.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
What about for you, sir?
Well, it was A New Hope, but it was. I don't know if it was 77. I was certainly alive then, but they used to run like it wasn't like it is now, where a movie would run for a couple of months and then they pull it. If
Yeah.
the movie's doing good, they just kept it out. So I don't know if I was actually saw it in 77 or 78. It's not like I had the ticket stub or anything like that. But I certainly remember that, and I certainly remember being brought to it a few times.
Mhm.
But like my memories of it from when I originally went to see it are small things, like the Millennium Falcon going into light speed and stuff like that. I remember little bits like that. And then I remember like the day Empire Strikes Back came out. I remember everything about it. I remember waiting in line downtown at the movie theater with my brother.
And
My
where would
mother.
this have been? Where would
This-
this have been?
This is
Winnipeg or no?
in Winnipeg.
It would have
So,
been Winnipeg, okay.
Luckily, it was in the summertime because my mother gave my little brother, and I matching like little outfits to wear at that. I remember not being impressed by this at all. But
Mm.
yes, going to see that movie was a big deal. And then I remember when the movie came out, then all the action figures came out, which I was probably more excited about. I was probably more excited about the
Well,
action figures for anything than the
You know,
actual
now
movies.
that you mentioned it, people in the chat, let us know, when did you first see Star Wars and what film did you see first?
I think
Cheryl, what's your experience with that?
Yeah, I think for me, I was in high school and we were going on a trip to visit my aunt who didn't have like satellite TV or anything like that. So I borrowed the VHS tapes from someone, and like I put the first one in and I'm like, I'm watching the rest of these. So
Mhm.
I think that's really the first time I saw them was
Do you
at my
know
aunt's
about what
house on
year that
VHS.
would have been? What
Ooh,
year?
That would have been like early 2000s probably, because
Okay.
like growing up we only had like 13 channels on TV.
Yeah.
We had basic cable,
Lucky,
and that's where I
lucky.
learned about
Now, where
Pokemon,
did you
Dragon
grow
Ball
up?
Z, WB
Where
Kids.
did you
Like
grow up,
that's
Cheryl?
all we had.
So where else did you grow up?
Middle of nowhere, upstate New York. So
Okay, all right, interesting.
Well, I spent like half my
Oh,
life,
we got
of
one
course,
from
here in
Nicole
Winnipeg.
here. Let's see her answer.
Oh my god!
Let's see what she has to say. Yeah, there's first DVD. Yeah, it would have been in
Wow.
but a
2000.
DVD versus VHS, you know.
Yeah, I had it on VHS first. That's how
I always have to remember that there's just two different eras of Star
Well,
Wars
three
and stuff
now.
like that.
Three
Yeah,
now.
well, do
Three,
you think the new era, the Disney era movies are going to be held in as high regard nowadays than
Yes.
like the
They
Phantom
will.
Menace and all
You
those
have
movies?
so many small
They
girls
will, I
going
think.
around
Yeah.
dressed as Rey at these conventions. Like they
Yeah.
love it, and they're going to grow up and they're going to continue to love it just as we love the ones that we were
Nice,
introduced to
Cordelia.
in your
Very
kids.
nice.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So a bunch of
my
these
nephews
guys who
and
whine
nieces-
about Star Wars a lot on the internet or whatever are going to eat humble
Well,
pie in 20 years.
Like my 9,
I'm fine with
almost
that.
10 nephews and nieces have grown up in this era. So I think in 20 years, they're probably going to be very. They'll probably be mad at us old. Well, not me, but mad at the people who bashed on the sequel trilogy.
I mean, and I'll tell you, so I was at Awesome Con last year and they had Hayden Christensen and Rosario Dawson, and
Yeah.
the
Okay.
absolute love for the two of them. Like, people
Yes.
were waiting forever.
No,
and
I
like,
agree.
that would not have happened a few years ago. So,
No,
like,
I absolutely
people had
agree.
re-loved even
But
the
Legal,
middle
that's
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, Legal, I got to meet the girl who plays Ray at Galaxy's Edge in Anaheim.
Aw.
I came around the corner.
Do they
and
have
she was
that
right there? And
Sand People wrap on her arm? Is that what the thing
Yeah.
is?
yep, and she had the accent down right too. So Daisy Ridley's working class accent.
And I will also tell you, I appreciate characters as a female who have like clothes that cover their bodies so that I don't feel uncomfortable if I want
yes.
to dress up and be like, I
Yes.
love that character. This is an outfit I can wear.
Yeah,
Ray's
because
outfit is
you know,
amazing.
you will remember for how many years the slave Leia thing was a big deal.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's still a
Well,
big
I'm
deal.
gonna
It's-
say
it's a
right
big
now.
deal.
I'm gonna say right now. I was never attracted to the slave Leia look.
Yeah.
I like Leia in her snow dress, like her snow outfit from Return of the Jedi.
I mean, there's a whole empowerment
forest
thing
outfit,
of
yeah.
allowing and encouraging women and being like, go, do you wear
Yes,
those things? But I'm like, I also
that's
like having
very
an
true.
option of being comfortable myself. And I'm like, I'm not comfortable in those kinds of
And
things.
also the
I
mid-dress
appreciate outfits.
Padme outfit. The Padme outfit that's mid-dress showing. Or then there's Ahsoka's like early days. You remember Ahsoka's
No.
early tube top outfit look? I'm
Nope.
glad they changed that in season 3.
The Ahsoka for me, the first Ahsoka I really saw was in Mandalorian, whatever it
Yes.
was, season
Yes.
2, and then I
Yes.
wasn't a big fan. I'd never watched the cartoons very much, and then I got introduced to a couple of the cartoon things, like the Jedi setting up the Taliban in Star Wars. But I still haven't gotten back into watching the rest of that.
Well, the animated stuff is really good.
I keep thinking about that, and it's like I always think, oh, there's just so much. But I only just started watching The Office. Like, I never watched The Office before, and it's 9 seasons, and I've watched 4.5 seasons in the last 2.5 weeks.
Rebels.
Yeah.
And watch The Bad Batch. Watch those two.
Okay.
Now, the reason I wouldn't say Clone Wars is just because
it's a lot.
There's so many episodes, whereas Rebels is 4 seasons, Bad Batch is 3 seasons.
And I think also with Clone Wars, Brennan, you gave me a list of, which I haven't yet. It's on my list, my endless list, but like to skip episodes or reorder certain episodes.
Yeah.
There's a better way to watch them than what they
there's like
came
75 episodes that are really good, I think.
If you sent me something, like, I trust you, so if you sent me something like that, then I would probably actually get around to watching it.
Okay.
I would watch those things or whatever, as long as I didn't have to watch the entire thing from back to front and stuff like that, because a few things now I know, you know what I mean?
So here's
but
the thing. Watch the selected episodes of Clone Wars. Watch all of Rebels. No, sorry. Watch the selected Clone Wars, then watch the Bad Batch. Then watch all of Rebels.
Okay.
And you can skip Resistance. You don't really need to see that one, even though it's not bad. It's just, Young Jedi Adventures, I couldn't get into that. Those shows you don't have to watch.
I have a feeling like I have a thing against like Star Wars cartoons, because when I was a kid, Return of the Jedi ended, and then like 2 years later, like, oh, guess what, guys? You're getting more Star Wars. It's like, great. And here's droids and Ewoks.
Yes, the animated
those suck. They suck.
Droids, R2D2's the best though.
You are a monster, madam. I'm just kidding. I haven't watched it since whatever it was, 85.
You
might be
remember
right.
the 2 live-action Ewok adventure films?
Yes, of course. I remember I was on my uncle was in a band, and him and his aunt, or like my aunt Darlene, took me to a town like in the tour bus, which was cool. And we were in the hotel, and that's the night that they showed the first Ewok movie on TV. Then Canada, like there was only 3 channels at the time, but they showed it on CTV, so I got to see like the first Ewok movie. And it was like I can't remember. Is that the Caravan one, or was it the other one? I can't remember.
Well, the first one is called Caravan of Courage.
Yeah, the Caravan one. Yeah, so I saw that one and
The
I just
second one
remember
is
feeling
called
a little underwhelmed. I was a little underwhelmed by
Well, then
it.
the second one, Battle for Endor,
I don't remember it though.
starred everybody's favorite diabetes guy, Wilford Brimley.
Wilford Brimley.
Diabetes.
Yeah.
Um,
The crazy thing,
well, I'll tell you what, Chuck,
when
the
he
second
was
movie-
in Cocoon, he was younger than I am now.
Yes, that is kind of weird to think about.
He was 48 or something like that.
No, well, here's one for you, Stark. If you get a chance on Disney Plus, watch the second Ewok Adventure movie. It's actually quite good.
Okay, I'll do that.
I think
It's-
part
it's
of it
much more
is
like dark fantasy. Is what it's
Ooh,
like.
okay.
I think part of it is like what you can tie your nostalgia to when you were
That's
first
true.
introduced to
That's
Star Wars.
true.
Like, because for
Oh.
me, they had I'm a book person. I have tons of books
Yeah.
here.
Clearly.
But like,
Can't
I
tell.
could never get into the Young Jedi book series because I was like a little too
I mean, we
old
can
and
tell
like
by all the books behind you.
I know that are blurred out, which is funny.
Yeah,
'cause
I was gonna say, I
actually
thought
read a lot.
100% that I had cataracts.
No, like I
for the
forgot this
longest
isn't
time.
work. I don't need to blur out my nerdy background here.
Look what you're doing.
I mean, I
It
like
was
to
like
read
magic.
too, but
And then I can't
so the
figure out how
books
to
are
turn
really
it off.
your thing, right? You know,
Yeah, I remember a lot more about the books, and I like to reread stuff every few years. So, you know.
I was actually the first Star Wars related thing I ever saw was Muppet Babies, and they did an episode where they did Star Wars.
What? All right.
It's very interesting. I think I may have seen that before I ever saw the movies.
There we go.
Well,
That's
now
so-
we're gonna look at Cheryl's background, which is really
It's so crazy to me.
Well, we've got Loki for
Loki, I
president.
see him.
Yes.
Sherlock was the campaign manager, so I guess
Ooh.
it's an election thing. So Loki for president, go
I
vote for
vote
Loki.
for Loki. I vote for him.
We got this. This is new.
Oh, popcorn bucket.
And a lot of books. Yes,
A lot of books.
I need more bookshelves. This
I think
is
the
one.
first Star Wars books I ever read were the Jedi Prince series.
The Jedi.
Those are like young reader books.
The f-
But the first like novels I read of Star Wars would have been the Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah, I think those those would have been my first novels because we had the movies when I was growing up and stuff like that. But we had like all these books that you could like play a record to and stuff like that. And when R2D2 would make a noise, you'd have to flip the page and stuff like that. I remember that from when I was a kid.
Yeah, like
And then
always
we had
said it.
the comic books, and they had that one rabbit guy in the cast and stuff like that. Too.
See, this
Jackson.
was something I had to find because I wanted Timothy Zahn was at Awesome Con, and
I have not gotten to meet him yet. I really
Those-
want to.
a lot of authors at conventions will sign books for free. If you can buy some at the table, if you bring your own, they'll sign them.
Mhm.
But all of the new Star Wars stuff have legends because they've been rebranded from
Yes.
Disney. And I'm like, I want the original. I had some of my own and I found some, but Timothy Zahn was like, we actually have a copy at home. Like, because
Ooh.
they offer when they're discontinuing it, the authors can have like a stash. And he's like, we will mail it to you. So he signed
Oh,
it and mailed
nice.
it to me. And he didn't charge me for shipping or anything like that. It
But
was
Tim
like,
Zahn's a
okay.
nice guy, and I hope to get to meet him someday.
It's
What
very-
did you think of Thrawn in the Ahsoka series? What did you
him.
think of him actually showing up in
Loved him.
live action? Yeah,
Loved him.
I liked it. I always hear too many people complain. There's a lot of people that just complain about. I wasn't a huge like. To be fair, I wasn't a huge fan of the Acolyte. I was a huge fan. I was really hoping for it when it was coming up. I was like, yes,
It's
this is the kind of
definitely
Star
a
Wars I want. It just didn't
challenging
hit,
show.
and I wasn't a big fan of Ben
It's a
Kenobi.
very
But I loved Ahsoka.
challenging
I loved
show.
Ahsoka. I was a big fan of Ahsoka.
No, I just finished rewatching it today. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I will say nothing is out of the realm of possibility. I remember Timothy Zahni's like, the best answer to any questions of will Thrawn be appearing in anything is if they ask me to do anything, I would love to help them out. That's always his thing. So you never know what's on the
Well,
table.
I must say that Lars Nicholson, who first comes into Rebels, voicing Thrawn, that's where we thirst. But to hear Thrawn brought to life audibly,
hmm
Lars Nicholson's the same one who plays him in live action in Ahsoka, and I thought that was perfect because the way that it describes his voice in the books, Lars has that voice. This evenly modulated voice.
I was gonna say just a calm.
coolly modulated voice, I think the books say. So I
Yeah,
love
it's
that. Oh,
fascinating.
we've got another guest joining. You all know her and love her.
Hmm.
It's Adelia.
I don't know about
Yeah.
that, Brennan, but thank you.
I've not
Hey, we
seen
all
you in
know you, we love
forever.
you.
Hello.
I know. Hi. My internet finally came back on, so here I
Okay.
am.
Good.
No idea who she is.
Yes, Snark has no idea who I am. Absolutely none. It's
So
not
I
like we
saw
do shows together.
your post that you saw the Phantom Menace was the first you saw in theaters.
Yeah.
But you watched the original trilogy on, was it the VHS?
Yeah, the VHS.
The special
VHS.
edition box set?
Actually, I think the first time I ever saw it, it was on TV, but
Oh, nice.
after that, we had the VHS.
Yeah.
It was a big deal when it was on TV when I was a
Yeah.
kid. Big deal.
It certainly was. I think my mom had taped Empire Strikes Back off TV with the last 5 minutes missing.
Oh, wow.
However, the last 5 minutes are Luke getting
Dare
his
she.
new hand.
Yeah.
It's Luke getting his new hand, so I didn't miss any of the big twists or anything.
The first time I
Anything to that
watched
effect.
the new like Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back at home, it was on Betamax. So thank you very much.
That's so funny because you think back to those days, you're like sitting cross-legged on the carpet, like right in front of the TV, and then now like it's so cheap to get the huge TVs and the 4K stuff. And you
I
check
watched
yourself and you're like,
on YouTube The Price is Right the other day. They were very excited because they were giving away a 19-inch color television.
Oh,
This is
wow.
1982.
Ooh,
You want to
yes.
know how much that $1982 a 19-inch television went for? $690.
oh, I was
Wow.
thinking in the
A
thousands or
19
something.
inch TV.
I'm pretty sure that's the equivalent these days of around $1,700 or something like that.
Oh, it's got to be more than that.
Incredible. $1,900 for a 19-inch solid.
Wow.
Then that thing probably weighed like it's only 19 inches, but it probably did weigh about.
I remember my old
about
TV
800
with the
pounds.
dials on it. The dials.
I
on it.
remember
Yeah.
trying to get rid of my old, what are they, CRTV, the ones that like had the big back end to the TV because you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm upgrading to flat screen. Nobody wanted them anymore. I'm like, I don't want to carry this thing. Will I pay somebody to take it out of my apartment, please?
I had a 36-inch tube TV. It
It's-
weighed 440 pounds.
You got it, Jeremy.
Jeremy knows what's going on.
I mean, we're all Buffy fans here. We're Buffy stans.
We're in a council.
We're
in a council
Scoobies.
together.
That's what we are. We're Scoobies around
Yep.
That's true.
here. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing that well, now that you mention it, Buffy starts in 97.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars is re-released in theaters in 97.
If I remember right,
Coincidence? I think not.
if I remember right, was it the first week
Ooh.
that they showed Buffy?
Miguel loves Buffy.
Well,
She and
we got
I
a show.
have talked
We got a
about it
show
many
for you.
times.
Yeah, Snark and I have a show for you.
Uh,
I am the guest on occasion.
yes,
you are.
you're not a
And we'll be
guest.
in a few weeks, Brennan.
You aren't a guest, Brennan. You're an honored member of the
You're
Mm.
councilman at large, Brennan.
What do you think,
Mhm.
Cheryl? Buffy? Are you a Buffy fan?
I've followed it. I haven't seen too many episodes. I did. Again, you keep giving me opportunities. Dragon Con, one of the things is they do a recreation of the one of the episodes. I think it's the musical episode. So they have
What's
actors
wrong
on
with
stage, they've got props, they've got
What's
signs.
wrong with feeling? I love that episode.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I have not seen that episode yet, so
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Okay, Adelia
musical.
has not seen it yet.
I know
Alright.
that much. I do know that.
I just looked this up real quick, Brennan, because I have all the notes still. The number one movie when Welcome to the Hellmouth debuts on the WV in your United States of America, by the way. The Empire Strikes Back
Yes.
special edition.
Yes.
So yeah, so I guess 3 weeks earlier they had released Star Wars. So there you go.
So that is one of my regrets during the pandemic when the movie theaters were like offering for really cheap. You could rent it out and like to see the original Star Wars in the theaters with like your friends on a huge screen with like all the sound. I'm like, I really wish I had done that.
When we were kids, I remember going to the movie theater, and after Empire Strikes Back had its run, which would I think it went into like 1982. I remember you could go and see double bills, so Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back
Nice.
downtown or whatever, and you pay one price or whatever. It's like you can watch both movies. I remember going to that like 3 or 4 times.
Wait 3 years for Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, yeah.
What was that like? We have to wait 3 years.
We had well, I was a little kid. Like they kept coming out with stuff. Like it comes out in 1980, 1981. It's still probably running, but I only remember seeing Empire Strikes Back in the theater once, and that was that first weekend or whatever. Because I remember the lineup being around the corner was crazy. But there was other things that came out, and there's other things that keep your attention. It wasn't a huge deal. 1982 comes out, and I think that's when E.T. comes out, right? And then
1982, I think, is one of the best years in film history.
Right.
If you look at everything that came out that year.
Yeah. So yeah, 1982. I was
drive-in. Like, oh, that's awesome.
Was Raiders of the Lost Ark? Was that 81 or was that
81?
82?
81.
81. I remember. That was like there was that one, and my dad took me to see Time Bandits.
Oh yeah,
and I think that was
82.
around that same time. So yeah,
wait,
it was 81 or 80.
Time Bandits was 81. Yes.
Yeah, those were like the last movies my dad took me. While I would remember my parents being together. So
and like you kind of think about what were parents' thoughts about movies back then, because like now it's like you can sit in front of your TV, watch things for hours on end, but back then there were so few movies coming out, and it was like an event of like, hey, something new is going on in town. They're like, oh, we don't know what to do with the kid, like let's get them to see a movie for a few hours, or is it like, go back every week?
Idea.
Well, I think for them it was 2 hours of silence, right?
If I could leapfrog off what the guy was saying. 1982. Get this. 82. Blade Runner.
Loved
Dark
it.
Crystal.
Mm-hmm.
E.T.
Yep.
Poltergeist. Conan the Barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
Tootsie, which is a great film. You haven't seen
Loved it.
E.T., as I said, is the highest grossing film at that time. You also had in 82, I believe Tron came out in 82.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. You also have Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
So good.
Which, in my opinion, is the best of the Star Trek films.
Ooh.
I think of other... Now, I have to agree with Legal here. If you guys have not seen Conan the Barbarian, It is absolutely magnificent.
I still quote lines from that movie.
Visual
Like,
storytelling.
I am the river from which you flow. I love
Yep.
that.
The visual storytelling in Conan is magnificent. But 82 was quite a year to film. It's not a year that Star Wars came in. But
Well, it's
as one of
funny
my other
because
podcasts, the other podcast I do is a Star Trek podcast. And certainly 82 is one of the best years in Star Trek.
Well,
Sure.
it's funny because, like, with the films you were rattling off, those have like become a cult classic. But I don't
Mhm.
think they were probably very highly well received. I guess when they came
Not
out
at the
that
time,
year,
no.
not at the time, but now they've just become cult classics over the
Oh,
years.
I
look who's-
remember not
look
being
who's here
happy
in the-
that my dad took me to Blade Runner.
Look who's here in the chat. It's Ryan
Hey,
Payne. Yes, I
Ryan.
know the riddle of
I know that
steel.
dude. Yes.
Yes.
Tulsa Doom.
Tulsa Doom, yes. But it's interesting because that year, because E.T. was well received by critics and audiences.
Yes, yes.
But Blade Runner, not so much. Dark Crystal, not so much.
Well, do you think it
Um,
was the special effects didn't really hit with people, and then over the years, it's like, you know,
Well,
those bad, good effects.
far
and
as
so
Blade
people
Runner?
love them?
Well, Blade Runner had a problem with the edit of the film. With
They
Harrison
changed it a lot.
Ford's voiceover.
Aren't there like 19 million different versions
there's
of
a
that
lot.
film?
Yeah,
There's a lot.
yeah. There's 5 different versions of it.
Still looks beautiful.
Watch the final cut. Don't watch the other cuts. But it's weird because that year you had a lot of these movies coming out close together.
Mhm.
And if I'm not mistaken, Blade Runner came in around the time E.T. did. And it got
I can't-
swallowed up because E.T. was making all the money.
I can't remember. I remember my dad taking me to see it in a very small theater.
Which one?
Uh,
Dark Crystal?
Blade,
or
Blade Runner.
Blade
Dark
Runner?
Crystal.
Blade
Yeah,
Runner, yes.
Dark Crystal I saw in a larger theater. E.T. I was everybody in my family's excuse to go see E.T. So
Mm,
I saw that in the movie theater 6 times.
wow.
I was a big fan of it
Wow.
by the third time. After that, I was like, okay, I've seen this movie.
Mm.
And also for Tron, I remember when I went to go see that, my little brother wanted to see Robin Hood, like the cartoon of Robin Hood. And
Oh,
he
the
was
Disney one?
yeah, the Disney one, because they used to
They would
re-release
re-release the Disney films.
yeah, they would re-release the movies all the time. And I was like, stuck to my guns. I was like, no, I want to go see Tron.
Oh,
And
by
Tron
the
was
way-
amazing, but I've seen it again after that. I was like, yeah.
By the way, Ryan in the chat there, if you want to come in and chat, just feel free to hop on in. I think I sent in the link. This is the fun of doing the live stream, is I get to do this stuff live.
Sure.
But
I
yeah,
know that
I mean,
I don't have very
82
much longer here, though, Brendan, because I have not had anything to eat since I think.
But 82,
I
what a
thought-
year. I mean, not a Star Wars year, but what a year. And I think we can
Great
argue
year.
that a lot of the great films of that year, particularly in the sci-fi fantasy world, owe a lot to Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
Because the technology was invented to allow those movies to have really neat special effects.
you do 2 podcasts, Brendan. Like you do a Star Wars
Star Wars
podcast. You
and
do a
Star Trek.
Without Star Wars, do we ever see Star Trek on the
On
big
the
screen?
big screen, probably not.
Nope.
No, thank goodness to the fans in the 70s who saved Star Trek. All right, well, we'll let Snark go and get some food.
Thanks,
But
guys.
thank you, Stark, for coming out and hanging out with us.
Lovely to see you.
And I will see you in a couple of weeks to talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, that's gonna be so much fun. Okay, thanks everybody. See you
Bye, Snark.
later.
Bye, Snark.
Bye.
There we go. Yeah, but it's amazing because, for example, when George Lucas is at the University of Southern California, he meets a group that they nicknamed the Dirty Dozen, named after the war film of the same name. And a lot of those people go on to have interesting careers. For example, the director of Conan the Barbarian, John Milius, was a friend of George Lucas at USC. In fact, it's John Milius who introduces George Lucas to Kurosawa's films. Akira Kurosawa, the great Japanese filmmaker. And the influence of Kurosawa on Star Wars is undeniable, I think. I'm a big Kurosawa fan, so I could talk endlessly about it. But some of the other people that he went to school with were Caleb Deschanel, as in Zoe Deschanel's dad, who was a cinematographer in Hollywood. I went to school with a couple of people who went on to create things like some of the LucasArts video games, like all the point-and-click adventure games.
No,
I
I
went to
think
school with the director of Grease.
that's a
many,
good
many, many others.
example of like where when you can get a group of people and like you can learn from each other, you have creative ideas, and it's not like stealing other people's ideas, but it's like, oh, that's something really interesting. What if I applied it to this other project? And it's like it's hard to be so creative on your own if you're
That's
like
true. That's true.
just working on something. And you know, some parts maybe writing, some people are good at it that way, but like there's a reason why people have writing duos and partners, and like, you know, just having these creative collectives where you can bounce ideas off and just get inspired by people. I think that's something, you know, we kind of are missing a little bit in these days. Is it's all like, I need to get
To a
credit or
degree,
I need
yeah.
to do the thing. And it's like, hey, sometimes working together, you can actually, or learning from each other can be such a good creative inspiration.
Well, that's one of the interesting things about the origin of Star Wars. Is that George Lucas is at USC right during the time when Hollywood is changing. This would have been the late 60s, so you're getting like in 1967. 1967, you get movies like The Graduate, Bonnie and Clyde, In the Heat of the Night, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. A couple years later, you get 2001: A Space Odyssey, Easy Rider, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Midnight Cowboy. All these movies that completely changed Hollywood. And George Lucas just happens to sort of be there in the right place at the right time, making his short films, THX 1138, the short film version, which wins him a prize at the National Student Film Competition, which then leads to him meeting Francis Ford Coppola and then working together on a few things before eventually forming Lucasfilm. Now, George Lucas's first movie is under American Zoetrope, which is the company that he founds with Francis Ford Coppola. And Lucas and Coppola, Lucas directs THX 1138 in 1971. The film version, not well received at the time, but since it's grown in popularity. Well, 2 years later, he does American Graffiti,
Great
which
film.
is extremely well received.
Yeah.
And those of you listening, if you have not seen American Graffiti, do yourself a favor. And it's absolutely a terrific coming of age movie. One of these days, I'm going to go visit where they filmed it, up in Petaluma, California.
Definitely go do that. I like seeing where places are filmed and like getting some of that behind the scenes walking where things happen.
And
I
the success
also
of
need to head out, but
Okay.
I will leave you with a sleeping kitty cat.
the Sleeping
picture.
Kitty. It's Pikachu
Good night,
asleep.
Pikachu. I tried to get him to come back on my lap, and he would not cooperate. So that's where
Well,
he is right
Cheryl,
now.
thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yes, happy anniversary on the show, and many
you-
more years to come.
You've been a good supporter of the show for many years.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, and thank you for joining us tonight.
I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, Cheryl.
So, Adelia, so then the success of American Graffiti gives 20th Century Fox the confidence to invest in George Lucas's idea for a space movie that nobody had tried before.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah.
Did you as far as now you've seen American Graffiti,
Yeah.
which is a
Long
decent
time ago, but yeah.
launching point for a lot of careers.
Yeah.
Because you have Ron Howard, and you have Cindy Williams, who goes with Laverne and Shirley.
Mm-hmm.
You have Richard Dreyfuss. You have a bunch of other people whose careers really take off from the success of American Graffiti.
Mm-hmm.
The you can definitely see the way it's edited very much is reminiscent of Star Wars style editing.
Yeah.
And the idea of editing 4 stories at the same time is pretty wild. Now, as far as that era of film, George Lucas happens to come along at just the right time. Because the 70s was quite an era for American film.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I just was watching Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid the other day. Came out in 1969. That's one of those, as they call it, New Hollywood. And this is where you get Spielberg, Coppola, Lucas, Scorsese, many others. Do you have a favorite film from that era?
Not really. I haven't seen a lot from back then. Star Wars, obviously, but
yes.
not too much more. American Graffiti's up there. Probably.
That's a good one. You Godfather fan or
Oh, no. If it
Jaws
can
or any of that
conceivably
stuff?
happen to me, Brendan, I will not watch it. If it involves like mafia or gun violence or
I
any of that
assume
stuff, I
Jaws
won't
is
watch
out.
it. Jaws is very much out. I would never have gotten in water, period, let alone the ocean.
What about Close
I'd do
Encounters of
Jaws.
the Third Kind?
I've not seen Close Encounters
That's
of
good.
the Third Kind.
It's real good. I mean, I would say it couldn't happen, but then it'd be the lead in Alien Abductions. But,
I mean, I
I don't.
think
So
aliens are real, so
Yeah, I think aliens are real. I just don't think they abduct people.
I can't say if they do or don't. So I'll watch it someday. I just have never.
The girl's not a fan of New Hollywood, but she is a fan of Jaws.
I mean that makes sense. She loves
Yes,
horror movies.
she does indeed. And of course, Close Encounters, yeah, is terrific. If you can, well, I don't want to say it, but we just have to forget about what Richard Dreyfuss did a couple months ago. But
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, no, we don't want to talk about that. Anyhow, just warning anyone who hasn't seen it, you might just trigger warning if that bothers you.
Yeah.
But anyhow, on happier notes, yes, it was quite a time for film. But yeah, Jaws was really the first blockbuster as we think of it today.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 years later, Star Wars becomes the highest grossing film for the next 5 years until E.T.
Yeah.
And then E.T. stays there until Jurassic Park in 93. So.
I've seen E.T., but I didn't see it
Yeah.
until I was 25.
Interesting. Okay.
We didn't watch a lot of movies when I was a kid. So
E.T. Fallen
I have a
Soul.
lot of gaps in my film knowledge.
That's all good. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no rule that says you must watch this at such and such time.
Yeah, but like a lot of those movies that you sort of like people around our age associate with watching during childhood. E.T. I
Yeah.
didn't watch as a kid. I've never seen the Goonies. I've never seen an Indiana Jones movie. I've never seen a James Bond movie. Like there's a lot of holes in my film knowledge.
Well, you've just given me some ideas for some possible watch-alongs. All right. Oh, here we got another friend of the show. It's Ryan Payne. Hey, Ryan.
Okay.
Hey,
it's
Ryan.
work- Hey, how's it going? Okay. Wanted to make sure this was working before I decided to jump on.
Oh. Well,
It's
yeah,
working.
you sound good.
Yeah.
You sound good to us.
All right, good. No, I've been dealing with laptop issues for the last week.
So I have
Oh
to
man,
ask.
those suck.
I have to ask both of you. So I'll start with you, Ryan. What's something about Star Wars that always makes you smile?
Oh, I mean, it's just the adventure of Star Wars, pretty much. Every time, you know what? Even if I'm rewatching something or rewatching like some old like Star Wars from the original trilogy, or looking at something brand new, I always love the adventure aspects
Mm-hmm.
of it. Where that there's something fun that's going to happen, and regardless whatever content I consume it from, that's the one thing I always love about Star Wars. It's always like it's giving me that sense that I'm ready, like I'm 100% ready to dive in on what you're selling me.
Good point. Good. Very well said. Adelia, you? The
The really badass female characters.
Yes. Oh, yes.
They're my favorite.
Yeah, Leia was
Like,
like the OG
yeah.
female character. Yeah.
Leia's my favorite. Carrie Fisher, one of my favorite people on the planet.
Without
When she was with
Leia,
us,
He's sold
and
that
yeah,
character.
without Leia, we don't get Ripley in Aliens. In
probably
Alien.
true.
It was interesting with how we got Ripley, and then I'll even argue, like far as when it comes with strong female characters, I'll even argue in how we end up getting like Sarah Connor later on, like
Yes.
all through from sci-fi, and how in one way they're kind of like I won't say influenced by one another, but they're really like truly the staples of like a very great female character.
Yeah, you got your Leia, Ellen Ripley, Sarah Connor. You could argue Laurie Strode in Halloween. I mean, she's not a pushover.
I mean, she's the sole. Well, other than Doctor Loomis, she is the sole survivor for a reason.
The final girl.
Yes,
But this is the final girl we actually care about.
yeah, not just because
Unlike
they're
most
the final.
slashers where you don't care about them.
Yeah, not just because there's a sole survivor, because they're just simply just a sole survivor. That's one of the things I appreciated with old school horror films, that
Mm,
if there was a character they wanted you to get invested in, they will like have something compelling for you to get behind the character, not
mhm.
just more of, oh, you're just here to watch people die or see gory stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, and this might offend some people, I'm not the biggest fan of these Friday the 13th series. Because in all of those movies,
Yeah.
people are rooting for the killer.
Well,
They're rooting for the killer, and that seems weird to me.
I think because of the lore they set up with Jason's character, especially from the first one with his mother, how
Yeah,
she's the killer and she's just killing every teenager because of what happened to her son. Then he comes back. He's pretty much just I won't say, well, in a way, I mean, because he's dead, but he also has this like one track mindset of just killing anyone that comes by the camp.
yeah.
Which you think, I mean, I don't know. It's just like after
Well,
the fourth one, it really did get redundant.
It's more to me that they introduce all these characters that we don't like and don't care about, and then they all die horribly. I mean, to me at least, with like Halloween, you're on Laurie's side. As she's trying to escape the killer.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, let's see what the girl says. Uh-huh.
Uh,
Well, sorry, the guy. I mean, that's how I feel about the Friday the 13th movies.
I mean, I don't know if I would. I mean, personally, to me, it's like the Friday the 13th films. I do get some enjoyment from them. I will say after the
Uh-huh.
no, I can forget what Jason it is, but the one Friday the 13th film where he's connected, where he's going after a girl with psychic abilities. I took a lot of enjoyment from that Friday the 13th, and then even Jason X, which honestly that's
Oh
I would
gosh,
say the most
Jason
camp
X.
next to Manhattan is the most campy of the Friday the
In
13th
case you
films.
didn't know, Adelia, Jason X, he goes to space.
Yes.
I did somehow know that, even though I've never
Oh,
seen any of these
Guess
movies.
who just joined the stream? A very good friend of ours, the one and only. Oh, sorry, I accidentally clicked the wrong thing.
Don't worry, we'll hold for a plot. We'll hold.
We're on live. I mean,
Yeah.
what I have to say, Tina's good. I think I've seen that one. I try to forget. Okay, but joining the stream. It's Video
Hey!
Drew. Hey,
Hey!
Drew.
Been a minute. Hi guys. Hi
Hey,
Ryan.
Drew.
Hi.
How you doing there, Drew?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
Yeah, so I've been asking all the people joining, what's something about Star Wars that just makes you smile?
Something about Star Wars that just makes me smile. I guess it's smiling because Jude Law is going to be in it, and he's my favorite young
Yes.
pope.
There you go.
Yeah,
He's your favorite young pope. Yep, that's a good one.
I've been rewatching that show recently, and I just forgot how I'm the young pope, not Star Wars, but you know Star Wars as well. But I've
No,
been
I mean,
rewatching the young pope, and I
you're
just
the one
forgot
that
like how
got
great he
me.
is. Yeah.
You're the one that got me into Midnight Mass, so speaking religious
Yeah.
programming.
This one, this one's a little different. It's more of like a super villain origin story that takes place in the Catholic Church, but it's very
Gee.
strong.
Gee, who ever heard of such a thing?
Yeah,
I mean, no disrespect, just
it's just like what if a super villain had like God powers, like had the power to
Ooh.
talk to God? It's a very interesting concept. It's a very good show. I never watched the second season, but season 1 is very strong.
nice.
Never thought
Yeah.
it got a
Yeah,
second
so
season.
Jude
I
Law,
thought it was
yeah.
one season.
What?
So you're
I always thought
excited.
there was one season of Midnight Mass. I didn't know it got a second.
No.
season.
I'm talking about the young pope. I'm talking about the young pope. It's kind of lost the
Yeah,
plot.
I don't recall anyone in Midnight Mass having godlike powers.
Yeah,
Well, technically
started it.
speaking.
yeah. It's a little different. It's a little different. The young pope. He doesn't so much have like super horror powers. He's just can talk to kangaroos and was appointed pope by God. Maybe it's a crazy show. It's very
That's great.
Italian
So you're excited for Jude Law in Skeleton
in
Crew?
Star Wars. Yeah, I think that show's gonna be really
Yes,
cool.
Skeleton Crew looks like it's going to be fun.
Hmm.
Very, very 80s, Goonies, E.T., Explorers, those kind
Things.
of movies. Yeah.
But as I mentioned before, when I
Very
talked
Stranger
about
Things,
it,
but maybe not as
the
scary.
adventure. That's what we're gonna get.
I kind of wish
Yeah.
they hadn't revealed it was a Star Wars show until like the very end. Like if they had enough there, you could have
Ooh.
just made it look like a show about these kids like exploring a thing, and
That
then
would
at the
be
end be like,
interesting.
"Oh, shit, that's a Jedi," and be like, "Oh, they're in Star Wars. I get it."
Oh, I forgot to mention I'll allow that one.
Oh, sorry, no cursing. Yeah,
That's all
I'll
good.
make sure
It's all
not to
good.
do that as much as possible going forward. I will. Oh, I was gonna say, Elsa,
You
has
could
anyone
always
seen the
use
fan
Star
theory?
Wars swear words.
Have you seen the fan theory that like it's all the characters from the Captain EO Michael Jackson
Oh
ride?
gosh. Oh gosh.
It's like the same exact. It's a 1-to-1
Wow.
for the characters. Like they're gonna just recycle them for the new Star Wars world and Disney.
Oh,
It's like
that-
it's
that's-
like a 1-to-1.
that's
It's the same
That
guys.
is perfect.
I didn't come up with this. I don't know what Captain EO is. This is not my thing.
Well, blame Francis Ford Coppola for that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, what a weird crossover that is.
Yeah. We
I
got
mean,
this,
I would love if there was an Easter egg of that in Skeleton Crew, but I doubt it.
That would be really
no.
cool.
Look at this tweet. Okay, maybe you won't put this on the screen, Brendan, but I'll put it in the private chat.
Yeah. Let me. Cause I'm all new to this. So let's see
I
what
mean,
we got.
share
I did see someone share a screenshot, on Twitter.
Here,
when
I
it
can
came
do this
to
way.
that, and I thought
I'll
it
have
was
to check
very,
that out later. Yeah.
I thought it was
Here.
very funny.
Oh, there we go. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Yep. There we go. Yep. Oh well, yeah. I think you may be right.
You scroll down. Hold on, I'll scroll down. These are like every character in this is like a
Well, I
1-for-1.
knew about the little cat thing in the bottom. I knew about that.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Interesting. Very interesting.
So maybe Francis Ford Coppola does have something to do
Yeah.
with this. They're like little grown-up versions of themselves. It's really cute.
Yeah.
Like George, it's Disney subtly trying to say George finally got Francis Ford Coppola involved in Star Wars.
Finally, yes. Well, it's Francis Ford Coppola has any money left after this movie.
Oh yeah, Megalopolis.
Megalopolis.
I mean, doesn't he have his little? Doesn't for instance, doesn't Coppola sell like a wine collection?
I think he basically sold his winery just to pay for the movie.
Oh, I thought he still had it.
Like he's gone completely off the deep end. Because
yeah,
he mortgaged his house to pay for Apocalypse Now, and now he's doing it all over again for this movie.
Wow.
You know what though? Like, you can do so much worse as a famous celebrity
That's true.
director.
That's
You
true.
can be doing so much worse things than financing your own film. Like, let the man have this in his winery. It's not
No,
going to hurt any
unless
of us.
that one reported that in is true. but
Oh,
we
right. Yeah, there is some of that.
We
There is
won't
some of
dwell
that.
on that.
So,
We won't dwell on that. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but putting all this money into this film that I'm still going to go see it, even if it's a complete train wreck. I'm going to go see
mhm.
it. I
Well,
mean, you know,
like what you mentioned, not only
sometimes
did he sell like he put a lot of money into it, but it definitely feels like Coppola he's putting all of his energy into it. I mean, I don't think a trailer has been released of it yet, but just from some of the
there is a
production-
trailer. There is
Oh,
a
okay.
trailer.
But just from the production like photos I've seen, this really
It's
does look
completely
like,
insane.
yeah, it is insane, but it looks like Coppola is trying to go off of pretty much what he's selling with Megalopolis. Like he's really trying to make it almost like it feels to me like it's gonna be, when I saw it from the photos, maybe his sort of homage to Metropolis.
Interesting.
So it would explain why some of the sets and photos look so like I won't say over, well, in a way, yeah, over the top,
Yeah.
but very flamboyant and extravagant.
If any of you in the chat have not seen Metropolis, you
Who?
should absolutely see it.
Wait, has anyone seen Metropolis?
I have.
Oh, that's crazy.
It was shown to me when I was in one of my film classes.
Oh, wait. You're saying Metropolis, not the new one, not the new.
No, the old school, the 1930s, I believe. Yeah,
That's got a different name, right? Are they the same name movies? Are they both named Metropolis? I thought like one was Megaopolis.
No, the new one's called Megalopolis.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not.
Metropolis is a 1927 German
Yeah,
film,
my dad loves that film.
Okay.
The German New Wave,
which
or
is
German
like
Old Wave.
German Expressionism.
Mhm.
Fritz Lang, one of the best like classic sci-fi films. It looks like we've lost Adelia.
I think your internet may have cut out.
He said her internet's been a little iffy.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. 27. Yeah.
But I don't know if Eric wanted to say hi, Drew. He's
Hi,
more than welcome to join us. But
Eric. Oh, I thought you said Derek for some reason. I was like, whoever Derek is.
sorry, Eric.
Yeah, I thought he was around here. Let's see.
But yeah, I see you
an
have a
asshole.
Long Legs poster already.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
don't
love that
see
movie.
any- I do not see any other movie named Megalopolis outside of Coppola's.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the other one's Metropolis. Let's see. He might be.
Yeah, Metropolis is quite a film.
Hmm.
One of the earliest like sci-fi epics. It's
Yeah,
more of
that's
a
what
dystopian
I'm
epic.
thinking it is his kind of homage, or just kind of like his well, yeah, like an homage to Metropolis. Because when I saw,
Metropolis is like the ultimate, the OG dystopian.
yeah, not just dystopian, but also like really like at that time of the 20s, it was really meant to tell us where society was going to go, where society was heading towards the future.
Well, and what's weird is that it's kind of presents a fascist future, and mind you, this is 6 years before the Nazis take over.
Yeah.
Germany.
But even then, it's I really need to jump back into Metropolis because there are some things in there. It's not too close to what the future is like, but man, there are some things where society, it's like
the upper class stepping on the lower classes and
yes,
exploiting them and all that stuff. So it's
Yeah.
crazy stuff, is what it is. But you're right. I wonder if when I watch Megalopolis, I'll go, "Oh, I see the references here." Or
Yeah,
the
I don't know.
homages, I don't know.
that's what I'm just guessing. I'm theorizing that if it's completely
Yeah.
different, it's more of Coppola's vision of because one thing, because since Coppola is financing this himself, I mean, especially just looking at some of the photos here, this definitely seems to me like it's going to be a tale of pretty much just of an artist going up against like the pretty much society, or just the big.
It's about an architect who's like a Roman he's like a Roman
Yeah.
emperor type, like a Nero
Yeah.
type, and he's going against like these other forces who are, I believe, he's also an artist, but he also creates his own dream reality scapes based on like his dead wife's
Nero
soul.
fiddled while Rome burned.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this movie, but I hear at one point what they did during the screening was they actually had a character come out, or like they had an actor come out and talk to his character in the film. So I don't know how that's going to be translatable to like an every audience kind of thing, unless you have that actor like in the.
I mean,
screening
this
will
is
be on.
definitely an art film. This is
Mhm.
definitely an auteur kind of cinema.
It definitely feels
For good or for evil.
Well, not just Artur, but definitely it sounds from what you're saying. It also sounds like it's going to be a little like maybe a slight autobiographical of Coppola's
Yeah, a little
experiences
bit.
in
I could see
Hollywood.
that.
He kills wife?
No, autobiographical from Coppola's
Well,
perspective, of his experiences in Hollywood. Because, hell, I mean, for Christ's sake, time back in the Star Wars, one thing Lucas was always so adamant about when he tells his stories, it's always about the little guy going up against the machine,
absolutely.
the corporate, the sinister
That's what we got.
forces that seek to control everything.
I'm gonna move my thing over.
Hey, Eric. Hello.
Like a jump scare.
How you doing?
Been here the whole time. Just kidding.
Yes, he's been hiding off screen the whole time.
I'm standing in the center of the room where the
How you
camera
doing
does not
there, Eric?
Yeah, the camera don't see.
Good.
Good. Thanks for coming
yeah.
on.
Of course, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm going to be in you guys' neck of the woods in a few weeks, but unfortunately, scheduling makes it so we are not able to meet up.
Right. Yeah.
But it will happen someday.
Yeah, we will be flying out to Jen and Andres' wedding.
Yes, I'm booking the.
It'll be
room.
my
In fact,
first
I know that
major
you guys
flight.
are planning a trip to Santa Cruz at some point.
We were, possibly after that. Yeah.
If you
probably.
do that, then let me know because that's not too far from where I am.
Oh right, yeah. I understand. So yeah, it's not too far.
I'd
It's probably
go down and
like
meet you guys there.
else, yeah. Yeah, we're
But
thinking
yeah,
about
you're
going
going
out
to Andres Gallego and Andres Gallego and Jen Kemp's wedding. That's very exciting for them.
Yeah, I'm excited for the visit. I'm less excited for the trip itself.
He's really scared of the trip.
So you've never gone on an airplane?
I've been on one flight. It was like a test run essentially to Vegas that we took a couple months ago for her birthday.
Doesn't take too long from where you are.
Yeah, it's like a 20-30 minute flight.
Yeah.
So it was a nice test run. But it's a shorter flight, so smaller plane, so it's a little bit more turbulent. So hopefully this longer flight will have a
where's the wedding?
larger
Did you say it was?
I mean, they're in Boston, right?
Yeah.
It's in Boston. That's right.
In that area, Massachusetts. Yeah.
You're flying to Boston.
It will be
So
a
that's
much.
a long- that's a long flight.
It will be a much big, structurally sound plane because I've taken trips across to Detroit and Chicago, and every time I do connecting flights, my connecting flight is either from Philadelphia or in New York. So I'm pretty sure the plane ride it will be less turbulence involved because it's always a bigger, like structured plane.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. So I'm hoping I can occupy myself by sleeping or watching a movie.
Well, here's the interesting thing I just realized. This is a strange mental connection.
We're not going to do a connection.
So in the 60s at USC, George Lucas makes the short film version of THX 1138. Then he makes the movie in 1971, and it's interesting where they filmed the movie because they filmed it in a combination of places in the San Francisco Bay Area, including in the San Francisco airport. They filmed a couple of scenes in the airport. They filmed it at the Marin County Civic Center, which I visited. They filmed it at the time they were building the Bay Area transit tunnels. And they filmed some of it in the tunnels. So it's weird because it was one of the first times that a movie was filmed pretty much in the San Francisco Bay area and not in LA or down in that area.
Right.
Which is very interesting because that's the one thing I like about living where I live is I live not too far where George Lucas and Francis Ford Coppola decided to start making movies.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
In the Bay Area. I visited San Anselmo, which is where George Lucas lives. North of the Bay, San Rafael.
That's nice area.
I went to the Lucasfilm headquarters with the Yoda fountain.
That's
outside there. I've seen the American Zoetrope building, the Sentinel building there in downtown San Francisco. Which, by the way, I had to get a picture. So here's a Star Trek and Star Wars connection.
Yeah.
So in the late 60s, George Lucas and Francis Ford Coppola create American Zoetrope. The headquarters of Zoetrope are in the Sentinel building, which is right down the street from the Transamerica Pyramid in downtown San Francisco.
Right.
It's the same crosswalk that Captain Kirk and company crossed in Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home.
The one in San Francisco.
Yeah, so I went and I had to get a picture of that crosswalk.
Oh, wow.
So I took a picture of that crosswalk.
Nice. That's awesome.
The Winchell's Donuts is no longer there, which is sad, but but it still pretty much looks as it did in 1984.
Right.
1986, I should say.
Yeah. You said you went to Lucasfilm headquarters. Is that Skywalker Ranch? Is that the same thing?
No, Lucasfilm headquarters is in the Presidio, San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Right next to the Golden Gate Bridge.
You know, I think Skywalker Ranch. I think after
Skywalker Ranch is more of a.
I'm trying to remember where is it located.
It's in Marin County. It's up north where I am. North of San Francisco Bay. It's more of a.
Because it's more of a larger. It's a larger area than.
It's a filmmaker's retreat, basically, is what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they go there for like brainstorming meetings and. Skywalker Sound.
Did Val Kilmer just drop there for a while?
Skywalker Sound does its work up near there.
Yeah.
I've never visited Skywalker Ranch yet.
I mean, can
I don't
people
think
visit
it's
it,
open
or
to
is
the
it?
public.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was open
I
to the
don't
public
think
or
it
it was
is.
like it's open to invitation only.
But the Lucasfilm headquarters are in the Presidio, San Francisco.
Yeah.
So on the southern end of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Right. Yeah.
And I've been there a few times, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think Skywalker Ranch is not open to the public yet to be.
Yeah, unfortunately, I would love to visit it.
Yeah.
And contrary to popular belief, George Lucas doesn't live at Skywalker Ranch.
Huh?
He lives in San Anselmo, California.
Oh, wow.
North of the Bay. Up near San Rafael.
That makes sense.
He lives, I don't even think his house is marked on Google Maps. I think it's all hidden, But I think I know where it is.
You think you figured it out?
Yeah, not that I'm gonna go bothering it.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet, exactly.
And in San Anselmo, the city, downtown, there is a park that has a fountain with statues of Yoda and Indiana Jones.
I have seen photos. I have seen I don't know exactly where they're at the ranch, but I have seen them. Like they're just right out there, visible, where people can walk by, take photos of them. Even certain filmmakers I follow, I've seen them post a photo of their visit to Skywalker Ranch with the Yoda statue.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if there's a Yoda at Skywalker Ranch. I assume there is. But in San Anselmo, which is further south of Skywalker Ranch, San Anselmo is the town where George Lucas actually lives. Because he was living there when he created Star Wars and Indiana Jones, that's why the statues are in the town. Because that's where he was living when he wrote those stories.
Right.
But anyhow, as far as Eric, I've been asking all the guests who come on, what's something about Star Wars that makes you smile?
Oh, good question.
It just makes you happy.
You want to know what I said?
What did you say?
What do you guess?
What did you say? What? Trooper McCool.
Drew said Jude Law. So.
Jude Law.
Yeah, so
That's what makes you smile about Star Wars.
well, right now it is.
Yeah.
The thing about Jude Law is like a weird little Jedi pilot or pirate or whatever he's gonna be
Whatever
on.
he is, whatever he
Yeah.
is. But
Um.
what's something that just makes you smile about Star Wars?
Yeah. I think.
Could be
I think I've always
character,
been.
could be a planet.
Yeah. Well, I think I've always been into like the spiritualism of Star Wars, like the
Yeah,
sort of concepts they play with behind the Jedi
Yeah.
and the Force and stuff like that. I think I really actually like a lot of what the modern Star Wars stuff is doing by dissecting, concepts of the Jedi and like
good
sort of
point. Good
you know
point.
predispositions we had towards them and stuff like that, and sort of opening that up a bit. But no, I've always one of my favorite like sort of sequences both are from like two things are both from Yoda, with in Empire Strikes Back when he's talking about what the Force is, it's like energy
Yeah,
that binds us
beautiful
all.
scene.
And then like the second one on the Last Jedi where he's talking about to Luke about being a teacher and what that means to
Yeah.
every student's going beyond you, like stuff like that. I always really like those sort of like messages that the series has.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good. I'm in agreement because, I'm a religious person. I go to church and I read the Bible and do all that stuff. Star Wars really connects with me on that level. Because I look at it and go, this reminds me of what I've been taught.
Mhm.
And what I believe to be true of my own religious upbringing. Speaking of true,
Mhm.
that was the reason why Midnight Mass worked so well
Right.
for me. As I went, yeah, I get this. It completely makes sense to my way I look at the world. So we're all playing it. It's weird. Who would have thought you could tie Midnight Mass to Star Wars?
Yeah. Midnight
But
Mass.
you heard it here first on this show.
Yeah, I think that quickly became one of my favorite shows. Like,
Oh my
after we
gosh,
watched
it's
it.
amazing.
I think we talked about it like 5 times over on different podcasts. Like after it came
Ryan,
out.
I don't know if you've gotten to see it, but it's really good.
No, I have not yet.
It is extraordinary.
I think someone tried. A friend of mine tried to share me a few clips of it to get me invested, and I just told him don't do it, because if you show me some clips, then especially because he's a big horror fan, and he would have shared me like I don't know what he was gonna. He did share me this one clip of the town people talking about Christianity, and I go, well, I don't want to see that, because if I'm gonna watch this, I kind of want to come this pretty much like with an open impression, not looking for it.
Like without any idea of what to get into,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
or what build up to that scene, like
Right.
if it was just a
All I
random
will say
one,
is it's an extraordinary show.
Yeah, there's great scenes like that throughout the whole show. And it's a quick watch. It's only like 7 episodes.
And whether you're religious or not, it connects with people.
But yeah, it does require, I think, some context to sort of really appreciate what's being talked about in those scenes.
Yeah, extraordinary, and I won't reveal anything, but yeah, there's a lot of great stuff there.
Yeah, I think that's still my top Mike Flanagan project.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
one. Yeah, and it's weird because as you were saying about the spirituality of Star Wars, I think that's the thing that people have connected with. It's because it doesn't matter what religion you belong to, or even if you're not religious but more of the spiritual person, or even if you have none of that, Star Wars will connect with you on a spiritual level. Regardless, and that's really neat because anyone of any persuasion could watch it and go, "Oh, I get this."
Yeah, and yeah, I think that's always been something that's like I think the great thing about what Lucas sort of did with Star Wars and his like initial vision of it is he wanted it to be like an entryway for several multiple things for kids to learn and like adults to sort of appreciate and just be accessible to like all people of all walks of life, and the Force being something that they say is like existent in all beings, even though only some people study it or use it or stuff like that. It's like it is sort of like the overview of like, you know, how people, you know, view religion, which is like, you know, the good it does is for everyone. You know,
Yeah.
some people, you know, use it more in like, you know, their own lives and like study it more, but
Well,
the point
and
of
as
it is
the
like, you know,
acolyte,
resonate for everyone.
and as the acolyte rightly points out, sometimes it's misused.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so but that's one of the great things about Star Wars is examining the nature of belief and faith or believe in just if you believe in something larger than yourself.
Yeah. And yeah, the acolyte does a good job, yeah, sort of talking about like the institution of that and how that can be, you know, faulty.
Yeah, and how there can be problems, which there are.
Yeah, that was. I actually wanted to see more emphasis on that portion when it came with
Good
Acolyte.
point.
I still enjoyed it, but I loved that moment in the Acolyte when Vanessa was being approached by David Harwood's character.
And just saying all the quiet parts out loud.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
he's just like, the Jedi are institutionalized fucking authority.
Senator
freaking authority.
Raincourt.
Yeah.
But
You
it
know?
wasn't just that. But I love that
Senator
he.
Raincourt.
But it was kind of funny how the entire show was all focused about controlling the Force or how people interpret it. But then he pretty much just says, no, you're trying to control emotion. That's it. Like, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, if we had more built up around this. And honestly, it definitely gives me it's always like a great line to tell the difference between when you watch prequels and then when you watch the sequel trilogy. Like in the prequels, you see how the Jedi are so like like hollow, like almost like bogged
Dogmatic.
down. Huh?
Dogmatic.
Well, not just dogmatic, but in the like they're so logical most of the time.
Good
So
point.
Like it's like Spock. It's like very cold.
exactly, and
Like
then
Vulcans, like Vulcans.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it
funny to me that in this show specifically, they were like, everyone was like, well, it's not gonna turn out that like Yoda was a liar, and I was like, it turned out Yoda was a liar by the time we got to the second film. Like by the time we got to The Empire Strikes Back, Yoda was a liar. Like they were all liars. Like that's what we saw kind of the Jedi.
Yeah.
It's not like it's impossible that they would have a conspiracy. I just think that like, yeah, people have like had the Jedi up on a pedestal for a really long time because that's what the movie has told us. But there are good Jedi and there are bad Jedi. Just like, you know, there are people that are, I don't know, Sith coded who are also kind of more on the fence.
Yeah.
And I can tell
everything
you,
was always meant to be black and white, but literally it's just like no.
and I think most
Yeah,
people could tell you that
Yeah.
there are good religious people and there are bad religious people.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a doctrine that you follow, and it's how you follow it and how you live your life. But I think what Star Wars is doing really interestingly now, and I think the Acolyte kind of touched on it, like Ryan was saying, was just like that there are always going to be people who fall outside the norm of what is like what the power that be is in control of right now. There was always going to be people that deviate from that norm, and I guess it's how you deal with those people that shows like what kind of humanity or you know galaxy wide like person you are. Like, you know, like if the institutional authority is just about eradicating the deviants, then it's not really a good institutional authority.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah, I agree. I wish I do think, you know, obviously the season ended with like a lot of stuff still on the table to like sort of be resolved. And so I think they were hoping for a second season, and I think if we do get one, they're going to dive a lot more into that, like the sort of power struggle between the Senate and the Jedi in that era.
And I don't know how to resolve that they end up working for the Senate. Like they're just the Senate's bodyguards. Like that just seems like a worst play all around.
Yeah. Oh,
now we know that there's two guys who are around, Yoda and Quid-Mundi.
Okay, yeah.
There are two guys around there still that old to remember the old ways.
Yeah.
Plo Koon's around there too somewhere.
Yeah.
Basil.
And I have to ask, because we were talking about Midnight Mass, one of the people in our chat, Legal, is a big horror fan. So Legal, if you're listening in the chat, did you see Midnight Mass? What did you think of it? I don't know. It might be something you might be interested in.
Yeah.
Vampires and religion. Interesting combination.
Yeah, highly recommend it. It's definitely
What's your favorite show?
It's one of my favorite shows. It's definitely shot up to like which is one of my top favorite shows, like just, you know, in general. Just because of the concept it explores, and again, it's such a tight story. It's only seven episodes, but it covers a lot. You know, like those episodes are pretty beefy, so a lot happens.
Great cast.
Yeah.
And like you've watched it so many times now, it's almost like a mini play for you.
Yeah, I think I've seen it like 6-7 times.
So you have to keep doing it for reactions.
Yeah, well, I've watched people's reactions to it, so yeah, that's.
And that must be part of it too. You get to see people experiencing this for the first time so many times.
Yeah, and especially a story that's like, you know, sort of like really dense like that, you know, about the sort of themes that it's exploring. Like it's interesting to watch everyone's you know, reaction
Yeah.
and, you know, take and how they sort of process
But
that.
I must
Yeah.
say that Drew recommending it to me was like, yeah, there's no question that this
Yeah.
would be a show that I would get into.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. We got another guest ready to join us here. If any of you need to go, that's fine. But if you want to stick around, that's
I think we
fine.
have to go see the other dark Star Wars of Alien Romulus.
Yeah,
Romulus.
Yeah,
we
I
need
was
to
going to
go.
go see that last night. And I didn't have time.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna go see that tonight. Hopefully remain unspoiled thus far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything to spoil? It's an alien movie.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
I don't know.
aliens come out and go boo. I mean,
Yeah. Can't wait.
Gambit shows up at some point.
well,
Oh my
I
god,
gotta-
don't even.
I gotta say, Drew and Eric, thank you so much
Thank you so much for having
for
us.
joining in, and thank you for being good supporters of the show.
Of course.
Of course.
And we've been able to support each other's content,
Mhm.
which is really neat. And we need to get back to those movie trivia
Yeah.
things that you guys used to do, because
We're rolling around. Yeah,
that
we're
was a
thinking
lot of
about
fun.
bringing it back somehow.
Yeah.
Well, thanks guys so much, and I'm sorry we can't meet up next month,
Yeah,
but
just
let
tell
me
them
know
if
when
you-
you're in Santa Cruz and we can meet up then.
Absolutely, man.
All right, catch you both later.
Have a good one.
Bye.
That's a good one.
How you doing? Are you good, Ryan, or do you need to run, or how?
Well, I do need to jump. I wanted to just jump on like for a quick moment before I start
Sure.
making dinner. So yeah, at this point, yeah, I'll also jump off as well because the moment I forget I have to eat, then it won't be until maybe I'm
Yeah. Well,
knocked out.
you've been a great supporter of the show since the beginning. You joined us for Star Trek 3
Yes, you invited
with
me on
me and
that.
Chris Engel, which is fun. And we will probably have you back soon. So
I'm being
Yeah.
honest. I'm always looking forward to it. And I do like listening. I do like listening to the episodes when you and Chris have those discussions. Even when you bring on guests, it's always great to hear other opinions or other people's interpretations or other people's like enjoyment of like when you do Star Trek, when you release your Star Trek episodes or your Star Wars episodes. So it's always fun to like really hear other people's like enjoyment and opinions of Star Wars, because you know what better way to always keep being invested in a fandom is just by hearing what other people have to say.
Yep, no, it's very true. We've been having so much fun with that. Anyhow, Ryan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And go and eat.
I will. And you have yourself a great night. Congratulations on 7 years, and
Thank you.
enjoy the rest of your stream.
Indeed, I will. Bye.
Like,
Now, the next person will be coming in is a good friend of mine, and you never know what this person's going to say. So this will be interesting. So he is the one and only Hollywood Hambone himself. It's my good friend Justin. Hello,
How are you
Justin
doing,
Hamilton.
man? How you doing, man?
Doing good. How are you?
Everything going good? Everything going good?
Yeah, everything's good. I've been enjoying a nice stream so far.
Yep, I got off work, ate, and jumped on here. Wanted to come on here for a second.
We also got our buddy Laserbolt. Laser is in the chat. Yay!
Nice.
So, I've been asking all the guests who come on, what's something about Star Wars that always makes you smile? It could be a character, a planet, an event, a movie, a scene, a bit of music.
I mean, there's a bunch about Star Wars that makes me smile. It's a really tough, really tough question about smiling, because there's a bunch of different things in Star Wars that makes me smile. My biggest thing with Star Wars has always been, no matter what's going on, I can go back to Star Wars, and for those couple of hours watching a movie and watching a couple of the shows that I've been enjoyed that they've done so far is really just being able to like just forget everything and kind of like not have to worry about stuff and become like a kid again with wonderment. I guess like the pivotal scene to me, it's also I don't know if it's a pivotal scene to a lot of people, but to me, it's just like that sense of wonderment and adventure that you feel when very first Star Wars movie, Star Wars A New Hope, when Luke's looking up at the twin suns. And you get that beautiful piece of music. There's not a lot of dialogue there. He's just standing there and he's staring up at the sky, wondering what's there. And
it's a beautiful scene. It really is.
So to me, that's like always like makes me smile and get like in a better mood, because it's like this person that thought they were going to be stuck, you know, doing these boring, mundane things like a lot of us end up having to do in life. And just like a lot of us kind of like staring into the future and, you know, hoping that you can be more than what you are, and being something more than what you could be. You know what I'm saying? You just go out there and be able to do it and have the adventure. That's the thing that's always gotten me about Star Wars and stuff. And that's like a key moment to me. And that's what's disappointed me about some of the things that Star Wars has been doing, is just because I don't think they kind of get that sense of wonderment. Now, I am a little more pumped up than what I thought I would be, waiting to watch the new show that comes out in December,
Skeleton Crew,
because it seems like they're going for that type of vibe that like, oh, we're going on an adventure, and these
Goonies, Explorers, you know, that kind of stuff.
And I think that's going to be possibly kind of cool. I like the trailer. I enjoyed the trailer when it came out. Now I will say I'm going to nitpick this a little bit because I don't get when I don't get when people though do this most of the time. I kind of understand this one a little bit because like the suburbia setting at the very beginning of the trailer.
Yeah, it's very much like where I live.
Exactly. And I think it would have been better if it wouldn't have had at least like the paved roads looking like that they had through there, right? Yeah. Like, so it's like, why do you need paved roads there? All your vehicles is they don't go on the actual road. So why is that there kind of thing?
That's a fair point.
So that kind of looked too much like Earth, and to me. But if they do a good story, put together good stuff, I'm not going to care about that.
Yeah.
Like, there's a bunch of different planets in this galaxy. We're talking about a complete galaxy. Think about how different just countries are on Earth.
Or even like states in the United States are.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, you got to think about the fact that there's so many planets and stuff. They're all going to look different. So every time you see something that looks kind of new, you can't be, like, judgmental of it. Like, I didn't, even though I didn't care as much for the Book of Boba Fett as far as a show. I thought they like didn't do a very good job with the story and stuff. There were some cool moments, but I also pushed back on a lot of people that were complaining about the color of the speeder bikes.
Oh yeah,
it's like, bro, you're not like, it's a galaxy. There's going to be bright colors sometimes. Like, some people like different stuff or whatever.
And these are going to be the kids that clean all the dust off their speeders. Which is what they do.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of stuff. I've always been like, when it comes to Star Wars, especially, like, always try to just give my own personal opinion. I don't like follow anybody or take anybody else's like ideas when it comes to that and let it affect mine. Like, if I like something, I like it. Like, I've always been a defender of the Last Jedi, for instance. There's a lot of people that don't like it, and I can understand that and stuff whenever it's happening. But
yeah, the Tusken Raider stuff is really cool.
Laser. Yeah, like I said, there was some cool stuff in the Book of Boba Fett. I just think as a show, like, to me,
I get you. I get you.
We'll just put it this way: when I watch something on Max, those guys have been doing it for years, doing good quality television. Whether it's the Game of Thrones, the House of Dragon that they just had, and plenty of other shows like Sopranos and all these other shows that they've had, The Wire, it's been super great. And these people have the experience of putting together these shows, you know, like behind the scenes and stuff, not the people that you see on camera and all this stuff, but that studio is used to doing television. And then you have Disney Plus, and Disney wasn't used to doing television.
Yeah, they're fairly new to it. It's true.
And I just don't think they know how to make TV shows yet. And maybe they'll get better and better and getting more and more people with experience and stuff.
Well, Andor. I would say that Andor was good TV.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. There's like the outliers. Andor was super great, but you look at like Boba Fett, and you have a main character.
The structure is a little bit weird. Yeah,
yeah, he shouldn't be missing for 2 episodes of a show. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think I disagree, even though I love those episodes.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was gonna say, those 2 Mandalorian episodes were pretty cool.
You stick them in Mandalorian, it would have made more sense.
Exactly. And
maybe there would have been less complaining about Book of Boba Fett if they had taken those 2, and maybe they could have used the time to flesh out the Boba Fett story a little bit more to people's liking.
Right.
I mean, I like the show. I would say it's my least favorite, but I still enjoy it.
I'll just put it to you this way. This is me as a fan. I'm ever since Disney took over, I don't hate everything they did or have done. And I don't love everything they've done. And to me, it's like this weird thing of these people that like want to jump on these like bandwagons, one side or the other, and either like everything or hate everything. And to be honest, that's not how it should be. Like, I haven't liked the Rise of Skywalker was not a good movie. Now you can still enjoy it.
I got the poster behind me.
Right. You can enjoy the movie, right? You can even have fun watching the movie.
Yeah.
But you have to admit there's a lot of things wrong with the movie, right? As far as like being able to explain all the stuff they did, you know, and that kind of thing. You have to admit, yeah, there's issues with this movie. It seems like it was like thrown together at times and everything else with pacing and things that happen that they can't explain. They don't have enough time to explain. Like Palpatine's just back out of nowhere. There's no setup for it, stuff like that. You just have to admit. It's like the last show, The Acolyte. You can still have fun and enjoy the show. I'm not going to like say you're wrong for enjoying or liking the show. You just have to admit the story was written in a terrible way. There were a bunch of flip-flops going on with characters and characters doing things that don't make sense all throughout that show. That doesn't mean that you have to dislike it. You can still like it and have fun with it.
Well, if we had 3 more hours, I could probably explain to you why I thought it did work. But
right,
but and the fact that you had your opinion, that's fine too.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I could go back and forth with you about the things that didn't work, right? Like, and you may have your reasoning behind like something that worked or not, but it was just too many things. Like just one quick example would be like you see a cool lightsaber fight in like I think it was our 4th episode or whatever,
the
fifth episode, and during that fight I was kind of taken back because there were things in it that happened and I was like, man, this could have been super good. It has so much potential. But why does Kamir cut the handcuffs off May and then immediately try to stab her in the face within seconds? That makes no sense. Yeah, right. That makes no sense.
That's a fair point.
There was just a lot of details in it that was like, I wish they just had somebody that could have seen that and noticed it and would have been like, hey, wait, we need to possibly change this, you know, thing, because it just doesn't make sense what's happening and that kind of thing. But like I said, though, like, why does people have to like, I'm not going to come on here, you know, unless you asked me to, right? Like, and we were doing a show together and the whole point of the show was us debating that show. Right. And we both then that would be an invitation to have like a debate, right? Like a back and forth with it.
Yeah.
But me knowing that you like the show, I'm not gonna like send you messages or any of that kind of stuff and try to make you dislike it. Why would I do that?
Yeah, I think that that's really what it comes down to. Is that there needs to be more civility in the discussions online.
Hmm.
Because some people are just not allowing other people to have their opinions. And that's really the thing. I mean, as long as people aren't yelling and screaming and saying toxic stuff, then everybody should be free to express how they feel without being worried about others attacking their point of view.
Oh yeah, man. It's just sad how things.
Because the Acolyte, my goodness, I mean, the online discourse got really ugly.
I agree. I agree. My biggest thing, like I've always said, is like I just want people to be honest with me when they're telling me their opinions. I don't want you to be like, I don't want you to be just saying things that just because, you know, whatever the reason is. I want you to just be honest with me, be pure, and give the honest opinion, and be able to admit that, like, hey, I like something.
Oh, gee, look who's in the chat.
Yep.
It's Randy.
Right. Oh, sweet thing over there showing up. But yeah, but my point being is, like, I just want you to be honest with me.
Yeah.
And when you're telling me, like with that show, and I see like you give your opinions, and you're like, oh, this is the greatest show ever. And you act like there's no flaws in it at all.
Yeah, that would be a mistake.
And that kind of thing about that particular show. And you're giving me those opinions, and then I'm like, oh, wait, you got invited to a thing and got to watch the first couple of episodes with some like higher up people with like Dave Filoni and stuff like that, which is really cool. And now I'm like, wait, are you just telling me it's good because you got a free trip? Like, at that point in time, I'm like, yo, bro, like, you're acting like there's no problems with this show. Like, there's a way, like, for instance, there's a way to be positive about something, but also criticize it, and but criticize it in a positive way. So,
yeah,
for instance,
I absolutely agree.
You can be like, talk about all the good things on the show that you like, right? You can be very positive about what you really think and bring up all the positives and talk about them more. But, you know, like towards the end or maybe even at the beginning, whatever, you have a few, like maybe a minute or two where you do recognize, hey, I recognize this show has obvious flaws, but I like the story enough that I'm going to ignore it. I do that all the time. I love the horror genre. You know, I love horror movies.
Yes.
Like that and Star Wars is my biggest thing. Horror genre and Star Wars. And I like a lot of horror movies that I know has stupid things, but I admit I overlook those because I love the horror aspect or I love the fun I have watching that particular movie. Like the characters do stupid things in horror movies, like all the time.
All the time.
That's nonsensical.
Well, I just wanted to say really quick about I have a couple of friends who did get to go to the premiere of The Acolyte. And a lot of people accuse them of being positive just because they got there on that neat trip. Well, I can tell you, because I know them well and I listen to their shows all the time, that even though they got to go and do this neat thing, I mean, they loved the show legitimately for what it was, rather than necessarily being the experience. So I can understand, certainly, there's a certain excitement that you get with a crowd full of people and all that, but I don't think that necessarily means that their opinions are invalid.
No.
I think it's because now, are there certainly people where that's true? Yeah.
Okay, so this will be my point, my thing.
But the people I know were not being overly positive.
Right. So
just because.
Yeah. And I'm not calling anybody out, like, in particular.
I mean, they were positive, like, but because they liked the show, not because they
but there's a thing here. Yeah. There's only like one movie that I can't criticize.
Okay.
Because I think it's a 10 out of 10. And that's the movie 7. There is nothing There is nothing out there that I've watched that movie multiple times. There's no point in that movie where I say, "Oh, I wish they would have done this differently."
I have to admit, I actually have to see it.
All right, sweet. Me and Brandy actually watched it. She don't like it as much as I do because she don't like horror. It's got more of a horror vibe to it,
Yeah.
and everything else. But like, the thing is, when you watch a movie like that, you can still admit that it's made well. Like, you may not like, I don't like that kind of content, so like whatever. But like, my point being is that's the only movie. But there's a lot of other movies. Star Wars, the original trilogy and everything else is not a 10 out of 10 for me.
Interesting.
But I enjoy it. And it may be an 8 or 9 out of 10. But I can also, even though it's one of my highest ranking movies per se, like Empire Strikes Back would probably be my number 2 highest ranked movie at like a 9.5. Okay,
Yeah.
it just didn't reach that 10. It's not perfect. That's my point. Is even my second favorite movie of all time, there's a couple of things and nitpicks and things that I don't allow it to get to the 10 because maybe there's a mistake or a character does this or something like that or whatever
no
it is.
No movie is perfect. It's not possible.
Right, exactly. Like, I don't think 7's, like, realistically, when we're talking about fandom as a whole, that everybody would say that 7's a 10 out of 10. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. And that's what I'm trying to get across here is like, even with The Empire Strikes Back, I say it's a 9.5, almost a perfect 10 to me, but it has like flaws. So when I when I hear people like being positive about something, I'm cool with that. But you also have to spend a couple of seconds saying, "Oh yeah, there's an issue here or there's an issue there." You know what I'm saying? Like, there's got to be a little bit of that, because when you act like something is perfect that much, then I have to start. It's not about it. What I was saying earlier is I saw some people being like super hugely positive. Like I said, I'm not calling anybody out. There were multiple people that went to this thing. And they were showing up on my timeline being super positive, like on Twitter, like it was the most perfect thing they've ever seen. And I'm like, there's no point. And then I went back, I was like, well, I'm going to see like what they say, like on their show or whatever. Right. And I'd go to their show and there's like no admittance of like any of these things that like are obvious flaws at all, period. And then I'm like, then wait 1 second. Like, I don't think you're being honest. Like, you got to admit, like earlier, I pulled up one little bitty thing right from the show that I caught that some people might not even caught, the whole handcuff thing.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that part.
Yeah. You admittedly, as soon as I brought that up, was like, oh yeah, I can see what you're talking about there, right? I see that.
Rewatch that scene.
Right. But you can be like, oh, I understand what you're talking about. Like, even then, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm talking about.
There were a few character choices that were a little interesting.
And nobody was talking about. So like I'm sorry, we just got getting on this thing, but
I'll tell you how I approach these things. I have things that I don't like about all the Star Wars stuff.
Right.
I just don't find any point, for me at least, talking about that. In the sense of, not that I want to be lexically positive, but more than I want to focus on what I love and not on what I don't like.
Right.
Because, I mean, it takes more energy. It takes too much out of me to be negative.
So here was my point from earlier that I was making is like, you can be a positive negative. Okay?
Yeah.
So like, you don't have to bring those
criticism.
Exactly. But you don't have to bring those things up in a negative way, right?
Good point.
You can still notice a bad thing and say, hey, like, there's this character choice. It really doesn't make sense. I wish they would have cleaned this up a little bit when they were writing this certain section of the show or movie, right? Like, that's not like you being badly negative or calling people out or
you're absolutely right.
Or being toxic. Right. That's still you being positive about the show because you liked it. But you know what? Hey, there's this one moment. And like I said, it's about how you portray it, about how you say it, right? It's all about the tone and all that good stuff.
Like, for instance, I didn't particularly care much for the way that the Grand Inquisitor looked in the Obi-Wan series.
Yeah.
But I mean, but that's not me being mean. It's just me saying I didn't particularly like the look of the character.
Oh yeah, and like I said,
So
it's how
I
you
see what
say
you
it.
mean. It's about being constructive with your criticism.
Exactly, but it's also about how you portray it, right? Like you just said that in a very positive way, even though it was a negative.
Yeah,
right?
No, I think you're
You still
absolutely
said
right.
it and put a positive spin on how you said it and how you did it. It's like, it's almost like when you're giving your friends, you know, you're joking with them and you say something like this kind of bad, right? But it's because you're friends and you both get it, you both laugh at it, you both understand that kind of thing. Like, even though what you technically said was bad, right? It like made fun of them or brought up an embarrassing moment that they had. You're both friends, so you both take it in a very positive way, and you can criticize it in a positive way, in a positive manner.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's all these people out there who are like, worst thing ever, fire Kathleen Kennedy, boo. You know, it's that kind of attitude that's definitely not helpful.
And like,
or the toxic people who say, a woman in a lead role, boo. You know, those people are.
Well, right.
Those opinions don't count.
So let's take episode 4 one more moment, and then we can talk about something else. But we can talk about May's character decision, where she's walking through the forest. She all of a sudden does a flip flop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then even later on in the next episode, her flip flop doesn't make sense because instead of turning herself in, she stays hidden the whole time until
I will admit that her turn was a little quick.
Yes. So this is my
point.
If she was
telling the truth. If she was telling the truth.
This is my point, though. That's a big, obvious thing. Because let's be straight here, guys. People that are watching.
It did sort of come out of left field. It's
true. People that are watching that doesn't know me very much. I'm from Alabama. The education system isn't the greatest in the world over here. And me not having or living in that atmosphere was able to easily notice that and pick it out right off the bat, right? So what I'm saying is I'm not the smartest person in the room. So I picked that out. There's people that I think are smarter than me. And when I listen to them talk about that episode, for instance, they just skip that over that whole entire part.
Yeah, I have to admit that even in my review, I did point out how quick it did seem.
Yes. See, I would have watched that and I'd have been like, good on Brennan, man. Like, he enjoys the show more than I do. But, and he's at least admitting.
I think that when she did the thing, my first thought was that she was lying.
Mm-hmm.
But then we saw the second episode, looked like she was telling the truth.
Yeah.
Because she was telling the truth, it did come rather quickly.
Yes.
And, you know, it's a thing that was like, yeah, it was a little bit weird as far as writing. But overall, I think I enjoyed the show despite its. I'm certainly not going to rank it up as one of my top Star Wars.
So, in the horror movie example I was given earlier, when the main character girl, the girl that's going to, we all know she's an adventure. We know she's going to kill the bad guy, okay?
Yeah.
But she makes that stupid decision about halfway through the movie of running up the stairs instead of out the front door that's right next to her.
Yeah, what was that noise? I'm going to go investigate.
Exactly. In that genre and in those movies, I'm able to ignore that, right? Like, I can put that to the side.
That's part of the horror.
Exactly. Thing. And still enjoy that movie despite that. Now, that's the same thing you're doing here. You love the story, or maybe even love some of the characters as well.
Yes.
You notice that the running up the stairs was a dumb move and didn't really make sense.
Yeah.
But you're willing, with your enjoyment, to put that aside. Like Adelia, part of our group that, like, I think she was on here earlier.
She was on earlier, yes.
Yes. Like, so Adelia liked the show more than most of us that was in our Discord talking about it. And that's the thing. Like, she liked it despite those things. And she's also able to point out some of the bad things and still like the show. And look, here's the thing. I wish the discussion me and you just had, have had in the past like 30 minutes or so. I wish a lot more people could see it, right? Like, our channel's not super huge. over at Let's Get Ready. We were trying to get it bigger and stuff like that. But it's conversations like this that me and you were having, where we disagree. You obviously like the show better than I did, right? And we both have our points, but we're having a normal conversation. We're not yelling at each other. We're not calling each other idiots. We're not calling people stupid because they didn't see things. It's a conversation with understanding and being able to understand that, hey, people like different things and people may not like different things for a bunch of different reasons. And that kind of message has got to get out there, like on almost anything these days.
Yeah,
it's like,
I think that we need more people saying, oh, you like that show. It didn't work for me, but I'm glad it worked for you.
Right. And
That's
also,
the kind of conversation we need.
You actually brought up a word that I don't use very often, but I think it's a good thing too to also recognize toxic positivity. There is a thing about that. That's a phrase, because you also want Star Wars to be not, because like I agree. I clicked on it, but I can't pull it up. But Laserbolt Videos, one of their last comments they put on here is a good thing, because I do agree. I do want more Star Wars to come out. It's better than no Star Wars. I remember, listen, I was born in 1980, my friend. Like right off the bat, I remember. Yeah, I remember the 19-year gap or so it was.
In the late 80s, Star Wars was dead.
Yeah, but like I remember, like, so 80. I was too young at 3 years old to go watch even like the Return of the Jedi. So like, but like when we take a look at that time frame from 1983 to 1999 when the Phantom Menace came out, we didn't get anything
other than
like
books and comics.
That's exactly right. And like, I don't want to be. I don't want to be in that time. So I do agree that we do have to watch being like so critical that it doesn't seem like anything can work. But I also don't want people to just be like, hey, give me some more of that. You know what I'm saying? And you keep eating it up and like nothing's getting better and nothing's improving. Like I want people to, because I'm going to tell you, you may have even heard me say this way before The Acolyte ever came out when it was first announced. That was the show I was the most excited for.
Yeah.
The only thing that I feel when I think about that show is disappointment, because there's a lot of things that I thought that had potential. There was a lot. And I think that's why a lot of people do like it, despite its flaws, because the thing is, like, that show did have potential. I kept saying over and over as we watched every episode and we covered it on the channel, every episode I'd be like, man, I love the idea of the story. I love what they were trying to do. Right? But they just didn't do it very well. Because I'll tell you this much. We go back to the prequels, right? Like, I love the lore of the prequels. The execution on screen wasn't the greatest of times.
Yeah.
Actor here and there didn't perform very well, whatever you want to say. But the story they told was really good.
Yeah.
So in The Acolyte, it's different for me because the story had potential. The story, if told in like a decent way, I could be feeling the same way I do about it as I do about the prequels. I can be like, hey, there's flaws here, but hey, man, the lore in the prequels is freaking awesome. I can ignore the I hate the sand, it gets everywhere comments or whatever that people thought wasn't the greatest. Or I can ignore the little child actor in a Phantom Menace doing the angel line that he does during the Phantom Menace, right? Or I can even ignore, some of the things that might get annoying because you're older now, Jar Jar Binks stuff, right? I can ignore some of that, but the story around it was told really well, and the lore around it was set up pretty good. And this show had that potential to, even if they didn't do it perfectly, as long as they stole the story and the lore well, that I could have still liked it. The problem was I saw those faults, and then the story didn't make sense at the same time, and it was just a little bit too much. Well, like I said,
maybe if it had had more episodes, maybe.
That's what I was talking about earlier,
Like
though.
if
I was
season
bringing up
1 had been like 12 episodes or something.
exactly Disney Plus. Like I was pointing out at the very beginning, just doesn't know how to make TV yet.
I mean,
Not
Andor
good TV.
was 12 episodes, and it
Yes.
had enough time to tell the story.
You had a guy who was experienced at writing television
It's
that
true.
hooked it up and did it. And because it's not a big character or something big they were trying to do, I guarantee you this, Disney was like, hey, look, I don't have to show up every week because this is about Andor. We got Tony Gilroy.
This is the guy who created the character,
Yeah,
basically.
he's running the show over there. We should be okay. We're not going to bother with it. But then you have some of the bigger characters that come out, and I think it's just different, right? Like the Andor is the best. Well, I love Rogue One. I like The Last Jedi.
Yes.
I like Force Awakens, even though I know it's a carbon copy. See, that's another example. I like and enjoy the Force Awakens, even though I know it's a New Hope. Like it's a New Hope with some different characters.
Destiny's frozen up.
But yeah, it's a New Hope. Like
He's frozen up, so we'll see if there he is. Okay.
So like what I was saying was The Force Awakens is basically a New Hope. Like it's a copy. I understand that, but I still enjoy watching The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Like, and you can do that. But like I said, the biggest problem is like me and you having this conversation is really cool. And I wish a lot of people.
This is the conversation that people need to be having.
Exactly. Like you don't have to
this
be like
kind of conversation. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, Justin, I thank you so much for showing up. Thanks for being a big supporter of the show and a great guy to talk to. And I'm glad I've gotten to hang out with you guys on Let's Get Ready Network.
Listen, man, I'm gonna. I was on your podcast once before and everything else, and I'm gonna reiterate something for your anniversary here, and that's the reason why I got off work, came home as quick as I can, ate as fast as I can, to be able to jump on here in a few minutes because of the fact.
Kind of you.
Because of the fact being a single father isn't easy, man. Sometimes you just feel tired, and I've had health issues, I've had family issues and stuff like that. Times that I thought that like, man, there's literally been times, Brennan, where I've been like, man, I don't want to do this today or even tomorrow. I just kind of want to back away for like a long period of time. And I see somebody this whole time since I've been doing this, like you know, with the Schmodown and everything else, and you kind of like being around, doing what you do, man, like getting on there, doing your shows, doing your podcast, regardless, and everything else. Like I think about Brennan. Brennan's going to do his show. You know what, man? Toughen up, get better, and do your show. So there's literally a couple times doing a show that before the show I thought about like, man, you know, Brennan does this thing no matter what, man. But you're super awesome, Brennan. I'm going to tell you that every time I get the chance. You're an inspiration for like some people out there, man. And don't forget that.
Well, thank you. You know, I try. I mean, the whole reason I started this podcast was to put a little bit of positivity out there. But anyhow, that's thank you for your kind words. Thank you for being such a good supporter of the show. And I will talk to you later.
Thank you, Brennan.
So catch you later. Thank you, Justin.
Yes.
All right. So that's our Justin Hamilton, Hollywood Hambone from over at the Let's Get Ready Network, which I highly recommend that if you're listening to this show, that you go check them out. They have a lot of great content over there. And I've gotten to be a guest on their shows many times. Well, we're sort of coming toward the final stretch here. This has been an amazing stream. I was not certain that anybody would actually show up. And we've had a handful of wonderful people show up. And that's really exciting. It's just wonderful Thank you so much, Adelia. It's wonderful to have such a great group of friends, and there were a few of them who were not able to make it tonight. But I will probably be doing another live stream at some point where they would have the opportunity to come in and spend time with me. Fellow podcasters that you all know and love. But to thank you all for listening, those who are listening right now, I'm going to thank Paul Preston and Adam Witt, Delia Chamberlain, Brandy, Justin, Captain Hopper, Laser, Legal, Ryan, Drew, Eric, and all the others who have shown up today. I'm trying to make sure I'm not forgetting to thank anyone who joined us today. I don't want to leave anyone out. And Jeremy Miller, of course, thank you, Jeremy, for being such a great supporter of the show. And for everyone else, hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Nikki Kumar and Alberto Calderon and Eli, they were going to come in. I think that they had some time restraints, but they were in the chat, so I want to thank them for that. So it's really been an amazing journey. Thank you, Captain Hopper, for that. It's very kind. It's been these 7 years have been an amazing journey. I've gotten to witness, a lot of things changed in 7 years in Star Wars. I've gotten to witness The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, The Acolyte, Ahsoka, The Bad Batch, and now we're gearing up for another series, Skeleton Crew, which comes out the end of this year, and the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which is filming right now. So it's no longer a theory, it is now a reality. So as I end, I just want to say that what Star Wars means to me is that Star Wars is that happy place. It is one of the great adventure stories of our time, but with the added spiritual depth that really makes it appeal to so many people of so many walks of life who see it and how it connects with their real lives. Whether it be connecting events, or as I do, the philosophy and the theology of Star Wars, connecting to my own spirituality and the way I view the world. The motto I live my life by is a quote by Qui-Gon Jinn. My favorite Star Wars quote of all, which is, your focus determines your reality. And I think that advice has been applicable in my own life. And I find that it's exactly true. I focus on the good and the positive. I also want to focus on being kind and loving and seeing the world that we are all connected. And this focus has determined my reality. And a lot of it is all thanks to Star Wars. Or at least Star Wars often puts things into perspective in a way that I never considered. And it only broadens my understanding of the world and of the galaxy. So thank you, Laser. That's very kind. Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in to this 3 hour and 20-minute live stream. I'm very glad that I've been able to share some of my thoughts with you. And I cannot wait to do this again. But as it normally goes, on Monday I will be posting our Star Trek next Random Trek episode. And I will probably post this on both YouTube and my podcast on wherever you get your podcasts, probably on Tuesday. But anyhow, I can't thank you all enough for joining me. This has been more fun than I imagined it would be. And Randy here says at the anniversary. Thank you, Randy, as we begin the 7th season of the podcast. So, my name is Brennan Marr, that noisy hearing fly ventilator. Thank you for tuning in to this first live stream of Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. Also, I need to thank my friend Jared the Dark Jedi, who unfortunately was not able to make it tonight. I need to thank him for the key art at the beginning of this episode. So thank you, Jared, for that, and I hope you can come on my show soon. Jared has been on my show, but I'd love to have him back. And thank you, Captain Hopper. That's very kind, and I look forward to however many more seasons I can do this. So, my name's Brendan Marr, that noisy hearing fly ventilator. Thank you for tuning in, and may the Force be with you.